All right, let's call this meeting to order. We're a little bit behind. 2 minutes behind. The mayor calls the meeting to order. Good evening, and welcome to the City of Mountain House City Council meeting for Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Could I have roll call, please?
Councilmember Disco?
Here.
Councilmember Green?
Here.
Councilmember Harrison?
Here.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Here.
Mayor Sue?
Here. Moment of silence, please. All right, could I have
Me.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Ready, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Why? Just because? All right, what's next? Approval of agenda. The mayor asks for confirmation of any changes or deletions to today's agenda.
I have one, just change, it's just under 6.1, it's recognition of outgoing Youth Action Committee Council. Just a word change.
They're not members.
They're part of the council. But the short answer is yes, they are members, but they're
All
members
right.
of the council.
All right, I need a council member to make a motion to approve
I'll
the
make a
agenda.
motion.
Councilmember Green, can I get a second?
Second.
Vice Mayor Tingle, clerk, can you take a roll?
Councilmember Disco?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Aye.
Mayor Sue?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
5 is public comments. The mayor reads the following. At this, you guys ready? At this time, the public is invited to make comments on items of public interest that are within the city council's subject matter jurisdiction and that are not listed on the current agenda. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. I'd like to remind everyone about the guidelines under the Brown Act. Items brought up during public comment that are not on today's agenda cannot be discussed or acted upon by the council. However, the city council can refer these matters to staff for follow-up or make very brief responses. Items necessitating a response will be included in the next city manager update and posted on the city's website. The mayor calls on speakers. We don't have any. Okay. We're going to move on to item number 6. Let me do 6.1, recognition of outgoing Youth Action Committee member, council.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 3 youth that will be receiving significant certificates of recognition tonight. I'll read it, and then we'll have them all come forward so we can present them with the certificates. Since we have 3, Mayor, would you like to read the second one?
No, you read them.
Okay.
I got others.
Certificate of recognition, Saitha Vermala. With sincere appreciation for your dedication and commitment to the Mountain House Community Service District on the Youth Action Committee Council from September 2023 through January 2025, your leadership serves as an inspiring example of service and civic engagement for the youth of our community. This certificate is presented on the 25th day of February 2025 on behalf of the City Council of the City of Mountain House, signed by Mayor Andy Sue and myself, Bernice Tingle, Vice Mayor. And if you'll come up, and we'll like to take a...
Want to read all 3 and bring them?
Okay,
Yeah.
and one of the gentlemen, he's not here yet, but maybe when I finish reading, if
Yeah.
you'll come up, he might be here. The next certificate of recognition is presented to Parnaby Maru with sincere appreciation for your dedication and commitment to the Mountain House community while serving on the Youth Action Council from September 2023 through January 2025. Your leadership serves as an inspiring example of service and civic engagement for the youth of our community. presented this 25th day of February 2025 on behalf of the City Council of the City of Mountain House, signed by Mayor Andy Sue and Bernice King Tingle, Vice Mayor. There is one other gentleman who, he hasn't arrived yet, but that's Rohan Pasma. He served on the Youth Action Council. Has been serving off and on since he was probably in about the 8th grade. But with sincere appreciation for your dedication and commitment to the Mountain House Community Service while serving on the Youth Action Committee Council from January 2021 through October 2022 and September the 23rd through September of 2023 through January of 2025. Your leadership serves as an inspiring example of service and civic engagement for the youth of our community. This is also presented the 25th day of February 2025 on behalf of the City Council of Mountain House and signed by Mayor Andy Sue and Bernice King Tingle, Vice Mayor. And the young man whose certificate that I just read, he is coming in now.
We delayed just enough. All right, you want to go up front?
Okay.
All right.
So we'll go up front and present these outstanding.
All right.
All of us, yes. Okay.
We'll keep them in the middle. Make sure you're on the left wing. Will be the right wing, or the east wing, the left.
There we go.
Did we call each other today? I don't remember.
Are they gonna blend in too much? Should I get in the middle? Yeah. Go ahead. There we go.
More pictures. What about your phone? All right. Great job, guys. Great job.
There is one thing additional that I would say.
People at home are here.
Okay. These three students have been really excellent and have proven really leaders in our community. They've been faithful, showing up on time, balancing, and that's what we talk about in the Youth Action Committee. Leadership and balancing the varied responsibilities that you have. But with kids like this, a youth like this, going forth for tomorrow, I'm extremely proud of the students that are being produced in Mountain House. And when I say stellar, I mean stellar. We have excellent public speakers, we have leaders, we have, in those three, we have people not only speak well and present well, but you have people who will mentor and go outside of themselves to help others. So give them another round of applause.
You want done this one?
Does anyone like to say anything? I said that you were excellent speakers. Okay, Roland, I heard you say yes. I heard you. Roland has been on council probably from 8th grade, and he's a senior now.
I think one of the biggest things that often goes unsaid at many of our YAC meetings and also at many of the or events that we have hosted for the community is everything Miss Tingle has done for us. So, you know, while today she's thanking us, I think the real person we need to thank here is Miss Tingle, because without her support, YAC wouldn't exist. And along with the hours and hours and hours she has dedicated for all of us at her home or at City Hall, before Mountain House even was a city, back when we were just a CSD, is all her time and also the support of the rest of the city council showing up to each of our events and the community as well. So thank you to everyone who was there, and thank you to my peers as well for all the events we have organized together. And yeah, I think that concludes my thoughts on this. Yeah.
I didn't pay him to say that. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna just invent things as we go along here. We're gonna add 6.15. It's not on the agenda, but we're gonna give a proclamation to the campaign. Okay, it's a proclamation to a campaign. Whereas the campaign Ready, Set, Respond has been established to educate and prepare the community of Mountain House in vital emergency response skills that saves lives. And whereas Mountain House currently lacks nearby urgent advanced medical services, highlighting the critical need for community preparedness in medical emergencies. And whereas Ready, Set, Respond has organized workshops in partnership with the fire stations and organizations such as Tracy Homeless Connection Center to promote life-saving skills, including CPR and first aid. And whereas the campaign has effectively reached diverse demographics through community engagement, through local health fairs, farmers markets, newspapers, radio, and social media. And whereas the education and outreach efforts of Ready, Set, Respond align with the community's shared goal of improving health and safety outcomes during medical emergencies. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Mountain House recognizes and commends the outstanding contribution of Ready, Set, Respond. You guys didn't give us your names. All right, we'll see that later. In promoting life-saving education and community safety, and hereby supports its ongoing efforts to better prepare the residents of Mountain House for medical emergencies. Dated February 25th, 2025. Did you need that for 24th? 25 is fine. Signed by the mayor. All right, come on up. All right, thanks guys. Good job. Yeah, my eyes were open. More proclamations. Let's go. Next one.
Did any of you want to talk about your program real quick? Okay. Mayor,
Oh.
can you just have a minute or two just to kind of
Yeah.
explain to the group what their program's about?
Yeah, go ahead. Avni, you want to go up? Or all four of you, yeah.
Our names are Rashika, Tao, Twisha, and Avni. In our campaign, Ready, Set, Respond, we aspire to provide life-saving education for emergency medical situations in our community. Our initiative is to raise awareness on life-saving medical techniques such as CPR, AED, first aid.
We decided to initiate this campaign due to our location here in Mountain House, where we have limited medical infrastructure to support us, with only having the fire station and the local Assure clinic. We knew it was vital to initiate this campaign because it's very important to everyone to know BLS, as our community is not supported by it.
Our biggest 3 projects were actually at the high school, where we taught the high school students how to do CPR, first aid, and AED. Over the past few months, we've been able to impact so many people of the Mountain House community through community events like the farmers market or even the health fair that happened this past weekend. And we plan to keep spreading awareness about this topic, since it's something we feel that everyone in the community should have some knowledge or awareness about. Thank you.
Great job, guys. Okay, let's now move on to 6.2, Proclamation recognizing February as Cancer Awareness Month. Let me read this. Whereas cancer remains a leading cause of death, impacting millions of people worldwide and underscoring the need for awareness, early detection, and prevention. And whereas advances in research and early screening have improved survival rates, making education and outreach vital in reducing cancer's impact. And whereas organizations such as World Cancer Care Charitable Society play a crucial role in providing screenings, education, and support to those in need. And whereas the City of Mountain House supports initiatives that promote cancer awareness, encourage preventative care, and honor survivors and those affected. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Mountain House recognizes February 2025 as National Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month, and commends the U.S. Ambassador for World Cancer Care Charitable Society for their commitment to global cancer prevention and support. Dated February 25th, 2025, signed by Mayor Andy Hsu. All right, Jazz, are you here? Oh, there you are. Come on up.
Mr. Mayor, council, staff, City of Mountain House, and my good friend Christina, who's always been on my side during my, journey of going through the cancer from 2023 to 2024. I stand here in gratitude. First, I thank God and my family, my friends, my community, and the doctors. This is very special to me on every occasion, not just because it's February and it's Cancer Awareness Month. It's just something we all need to be very aware of all the time, not to hear the word cancer and just get so scared and so nervous. I would like to take a moment and say thank you to this young lady sitting here. You guys are doing a great job, talking about the medical emergencies. Cancer doesn't give any signs that you can look at it and say that it's a medical emergency. It's a silent killer. After heart disease, cancer is the second leading cause of death in the US. I would very strongly suggest, not only to these young ladies, to all the young folks who are listening to this, talk to your parents, especially to your moms. Moms usually lead a very busy life, having a life working. A mom is always working, but working outside the house and taking care of family and all that. Not that the dads don't do it, but for women, it's very important to take an annual exam from a very young age. Not saying at your young age, but at the age when, as early as the early 30s. Prevention is best, better than cure. I always believe prevention is better than cure, because if you find something in the early stage, it's curable. If you find something in the second stage, it's still curable. Once you reach the third stage, it's a hard situation. In the fourth stage, people are just trying to prolong their life by getting some medicine, but you ultimately come to that. I don't want to use such harsh language, but it is what it is. And sometimes, things don't need to be sugar-coated. Things need to be said so people can really understand that it's not a fear factor, it's just a fact of life that you need to understand. If you're alive, everything is around there, is there for you. If you don't take care of your own self, and we keep working, and I'm a live example of that, I'm taking the blame and I'm talking about myself. I was always very busy, but I did do my annual exams and I did everything, and still, from one year to the next year when I got there, I was already in second stage. So things can happen. You just can't say, hey, because you're eating healthy and all that. Genetics play a role, your habits, your diet, your way you live, how you eat, how you go around with your life, that all makes a difference. I'm not a doctor and I'm not going to lecture anyone. I just, as the U.S. Ambassador for the World Cancer Care Society, I really want to say thank you to, of course, Mr. Mayor, the council, and the staff, whoever was helping me. I don't know who that person was that was helping me here. Probably you were, because I see the smile on your face. Thank you. This proclamation is not for me, it's for all those people who think that, life just ends because you got diagnosed with cancer. No, it doesn't. That what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And as I say, I live in gratitude. I'm not saying stronger physically, I'm pretty much the same weight, but it makes you stronger mentally. And once again, as always, I want to thank God that He gave me the strength, He gave me the guidance, and He made me a survivor. But I want to thank all those people who are with me during my journey. I know most of you, good to meet you too. And just to check on me, whether, Matt, it was you, Council Member Disco, sorry, whether it was Mr. Harrison there, Bernice, Dr. Sue, please take a moment when people are going through something. I know we are all busy. That little phone call, that little text message, that little something, just to say, hey, can I get you something? Or when somebody doesn't talk to you, don't take it personally. Sometimes you just don't have the strength or the willpower to talk because you're feeling so down. And also when people say, hey, you're looking good, it's a good thing, it's a compliment, thank you. But just because you're looking good doesn't mean you're feeling good. A person like me who likes to talk, even I didn't want to talk. Even I was in a place where I was saying that, I don't want to talk to no one. So please take care of your health. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to item 6.3, presentation of the monthly report from Mountain House Fire Department and EMS Services, presented by Chief Cornelison.
Good evening, Mayor Sue, Vice Mayor Tingle, and council members. Tonight, I'm here to present to you the public safety report for the previous month. We ran a total of 93 calls, which the year previous, we had 115. We ran 66 medical, 2 fires, and then 25 service calls, alarms, and good intent. During that time, we had 4 overlapping calls. As of the last meeting, I did represent Mountain House in the San Joaquin County in the Palisade fires, and was the strike team leader for 5 engines that represented San Joaquin County down in the fires as well. We were there for just over 12 days. During last month, we were able to do some capital improvements on the station. Our station is about 20 years old, so we were able to replace some floors, carpets, and some fresh paint on the interior. So thanks to Doug and Louis for arranging that and getting that done. It is nice and bright, and the floors are nice and new, so it's nice inside. We also our staff was at the groundbreaking ceremony for Neighborhood B's park. And that's pretty much, we had a pretty mellow month of January. Other than our new apparatus, the 2 new engines, we have been breaking them in. We've been doing a lot of training with our staff to be able to get the 2 new engines into service. And Station 2, the new Station 2 is looking really good. Our front doors have been put on. The station's starting to get close to finish. We're hoping April is the month. They've been doing really well. The weather's been very cooperative, so we've been moving along very quick. So we're hoping April will be the time when it's all complete. Any questions?
No? All right, thank you for your report.
Okay.
No questions today. All right, next we call on Sergeant. I thought you were Captain. Adam Grubb. The next promotion, right?
Good evening, Mayor Sue, Vice Mayor Tingle, council members present tonight. I'm going to be attempting to present the lieutenant's presentation of last month, the month of January. First, before I begin what's on the slideshow, there are 3 items that I was asked to bring up. And one was that the Board of Supervisors voted and approved the MOU between the City of Mountain House and San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office, and that copy was signed and provided to the city on the 14th. On the 23rd, Deputy Grant and additional county motor officers went down to Riverside, California for the funeral service of Motor Officer Timothy Corlew, who died in a vehicle collision while on duty. And I was able to talk to Deputy Grant later, and he actually competed against Deputy Corlew in a motor competition and lost to him. And that was on the 23rd. On the 29th, the Mountain House Motor Unit participated with Tracy Police Department in a traffic enforcement operation. And those were just 3 things that were not on the slides that I have before you right now. So the total Mountain House calls of service were about 978, which is slightly higher. Property crimes are about 16, a little bit higher. Traffic stops, 208, which is slightly higher than last month. And then citations actually issued were 161, and 65 of those were for stop sign violations. Parking citations are up quite a bit, and and overall traffic citations are up because we did get in January a 2nd motor officer. And the parking citations are primarily issued around the school areas. That's why those are significantly higher than the previous month. Collisions are down, arrests are about the same. I did make an error on the helmet citation. Last time I said 12, that's actually for the stop sign violations. It was one helmet citation. So they are, the violations are going down for that, which is a good thing. Next slide, please. Significant incidents. There was a domestic violence incident which resulted in a vehicle pursuit. Oh, that's not the next one. I'm sorry. This is a little off. Unknown at the time, there was an unrestrained 2-year-old juvenile in the car that was ejected when the vehicle crashed. The suspect fled. Deputies were able to apprehend the suspect, and then they provided life-saving measures for the juvenile, who was in serious condition. The juvenile had to be helicoptered to Oakland's hospital. Deputy Davis and other deputies were submitted for the Sheriff's Office life-saving awards for their actions provided on that night. Mountain House deputies assisted Oakland Police Department, who had been tracking a homicide suspect into Mountain House, and with our help, we were able to successfully negotiate that suspect to peacefully give up, and he was taken into custody and turned over to Oakland Police. And Sergeant Grubb, I know that guy. Yeah. He located a stolen vehicle using the city's camera system and flock systems. Got into a high-speed vehicle pursuit, which ended with the suspect footbelling in Safeway, which he was unable to successfully hide there. We quickly apprehended him. We are still working on the e-citations. We had about a 2-hour meeting today where they were entering data into the automated recording systems and getting all the computer data processing completed. In the spring, we were considering May, but we think we might have to push that back, the motor competition, due to planning. But we are planning a motor competition. We haven't had a firm date yet. We are planning this month of March, it's not March yet, next coming March to do another step operation. And we encourage the community to report any type of suspicious activities. And through social media, we've gotten some assistance with identifying some suspects. So we are grateful for that. Any questions?
Questions on the left? Harrison.
Yeah, I just, Sarge, I don't know if we have the slide. Do you have the last one shows their graph? The one that shows their analysts wanted, and if you could bring that up for me, please.
While you're waiting for the slide, I do have a question.
Yeah.
What is a motor competition?
There's a competition. It's a set of skills where different agencies can come and show off their riding abilities. We have, the fast ride, the technical ride, and we evaluate them. And it's usually based on time. So that's how we score who's the better rider. We did it at Mountain House High School last year. We're still trying to nail down a time and a location. We haven't got that firm yet.
All right, Councilmember Harrison.
Yeah, Sarge, on this graph, at the bottom right where it says self-initiated activities,
Yes,
at the
sir.
bottom it says traffic stop. For January 2025, it shows 56. But yet your report up here says 208. Is there a difference?
Yes.
Between what the self-initiated means versus that one?
Yeah, so I could kind of explain it. I probably won't do a great job. So that 56 right there is actually broken down into 47 warnings and 9 traffic stops other. That's the category, traffic stop other. So 47 and 9 is 56. So those are traffic stops that are not where a citation is not issued. They are either given a warning or the other are they determined not to be traffic related. Like maybe someone had a medical emergency, like we just had someone had a seizure. So they went off on a traffic stop, but it's not a traffic stop. So that's what the other is. If you look at the 61 are the citations that are issued. And if you add the 47, which are the warnings, that equals 100 or 208.
Okay.
And then the 9 other are the others that are not really traffic stops. It goes off as traffic, but it turns out to be something else.
Okay, yeah, I figured there was something to it, but I just wasn't sure.
The
so I just
system
wanted to
can be a
clarify.
little confusing how they break these down. I agree myself.
Thanks, Sarge.
All right.
Disco? No? Vice Mayor? Can you go back to the slides? I do have some questions. Not that one. Go to the next one. That one. So July, do you remember when the step-ups, or what do they call steps were? We had one in October.
We did.
We didn't have one in January, though, but we doubled our coverage, right? We have 2 motorcycle.
In January, we got the second motorcycle, correct?
So then really per officer, they're doing 2 to 3 per day?
No.
No? Well, they're not working every day, so, right? I mean, if you have 84 in 30 days, that's about 2 to 3 citations per day.
So it's difficult to break it down per officer because we have traffic officers that are dedicated just for traffic, but then there are other officers that in between handling calls, they actually do write tickets as well. So to say, you know, each officer does 3 a day.
Okay, so then I guess I could break it down this way. In December, for example, there were average about 3 citations a day. Right, out of 31 days.
Okay, if you want to do it evenly, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question is, it seems like in Mountain House, you could probably get 3 citations in an hour. I'm just curious why, you know, because traffic safety is very important to us, right? We hear about it all day, every day. Why are we only giving 3 tickets a day when you know, you go out there for half an hour and you see 20 people run stop signs? You know what I mean? Why aren't we giving more? And because I know you've been here for the last few months, we've been pushing it, give more tickets. And to me, really, there hasn't been a change. I mean, if you take out the steps, you know, August, September, November, December are all pretty similar. Is there a limit to how many you could do a day?
No.
Well, then why are we doing 3 a day?
Well, there's other things that occur. So even like you'd say you have a traffic collision, that will take you off of writing tickets for the time to investigate the traffic collision and then to go back and write that report. The traffic officers, I could tell you, write at least 10 tickets a day. That's typical because they hit the schools in the morning, then they come back, do their paperwork, and they try to hit the schools again in the afternoon. There's other, it's not like, I don't know how to describe it other than this is not going where they're giving away tickets 24/7. It
No,
doesn't
but
occur like that
I
because
guess
of
if
traffic conditions. Traffic slows down after school hours. Traffic slows down because people are gone at work and then kids are already at school. You go to a school, as a former motor officer, I could tell you, when I go to a school, I could probably write 100 tickets, but I can really only write 2.
Because it
And then
takes
school
time.
is done.
Okay,
So, I mean, you see 100 violations, but you can only really write 2.
okay. And I guess the traffic officer isn't working 30 days, so is he working
So,
16 days?
4 days a week.
Yeah.
Typically. And that's not including any time in court or accidents or anything.
Okay, because if he was writing 10 tickets per day, then it should be 160, not 80. So it's half of, if you're saying he's
well,
doing
there's
10.
there's other things there's
okay.
trainings, there's vacations, there's sick leave, there's a lot of things that contribute to the citations, I guess, being low, if you consider this low for this
It's average.
population.
It's not, you know, we've been asking for more enforcement, but the number stays the same. So maybe there's a limitation to how many, I'm trying to understand, because again, the community is complaining about bad drivers. And I have sat here month after month, please give out more tickets, and I see month after month, it's about the same number per, you know. So I don't know what needs to change to get more enforcement, but we're, you know.
Mayor, if I
Go
could,
on, Harrison.
to the sheriff's credit, I do know that in the month of January, I know Cody was on a vacation. He was out of state. He was like in Montana somewhere. And then he also had a 2-week collision course that he completed in January, and we didn't have that second motor unit yet. So I could see why in January, it wasn't even higher because, you know, he was, so that's actually pretty good for the time he was here.
If he was gone for that long. But again,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at August through December, it's like the same, without the steps, they're about the same. And, you know, we've been asking, you've heard this month after month, can we give out more tickets to, again, protect the citizens that are, walking across the street or whatever. It feels like it's the same number. So I guess I'm trying to ask, what can we do to get more enforcement? And if you're telling me, hey, they're always taking vacation or stuff, well, we need to change something, because I feel like the number of tickets is about 2.5 to 3 per day, right?
Well, I think you need to consider the fact that tickets do not really affect behavior. If there's different levels of enforcement. Presence is enforcement. So just because cops are not out there giving tickets, they're still enforcing because of their presence. So, and
You don't think tickets change behavior?
I absolutely do not think so. That's why, just like DUIs, we still have a DUI problem after all that we've been through. Education, arrest. We're not going to arrest our way out of that problem. We're not going to citation people to death to get out of a problem, people driving bad. It's just a behavior problem.
Okay, so then you opened a bigger box here.
Okay.
If you're saying citations do not affect behavior, then what will?
You need to change people's behavior. You need
I
to,
know,
you
I'm
need
asking you
to,
what-
through education, I think is one of the big ways to change people from some driving bad, from doing DUIs, from those things. I don't have a solution for you as far as, I don't know, you can look at that and you not satisfied with the numbers that are being produced. I don't have a solution for you to up the numbers.
That's not very comforting.
I think it's
I'd like to
important
make
to
a
note what
Yeah, you're
you
next.
can't measure is the fact that when they're out there, it does have an impact on behavior when they're in sight of the officers. So a lot of it is the presence. It's just like, we don't use the cameras 24/7, but having the cameras out there all these things do have an impact, but there's a lot of these things you can't measure the fact that people are driving more slowly when they drop their kids off. Just like you can measure the fact that once we did the enforcement on the helmets, typically when they're doing their job, the citations go down, not up. And so the fact that they're continuing steady and have gone up show you that they are getting more aggressive on the enforcement. But typically, the more presence you have, the less citations you're going to see in many cases.
I mean, I agree that there's no easy way to measure behavior of 30,000 people, but you know what I do see are complaints about bad drivers day after day after day. So if you're telling me tickets don't change anything, why have traffic, why give out any tickets then? If there's no fear of tickets, why would people change why slow down? If we just announced that tickets don't do anything and the police aren't gonna give out any tickets, do you think people actually will slow down now? They're gonna go faster. They're gonna run more stop signs because they're not gonna get a ticket.
I didn't say we're not writing tickets.
No, I know, but you're saying it doesn't change behavior. So if it doesn't change behavior, then why write all these tickets?
I wrote one guy 5 times for speed,
And he still does it.
and he
yeah.
still speeds. I towed his car twice.
Well, we should take it away, I guess.
I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if you see 600 tickets up there, people are going to still be driving bad, and you're still going to get complaints. And I'm just telling that's the reality of the way it's going to be. Even if we had 1,000 tickets, citations up there, people are still going to drive bad, and you're still going to get complaints. But we're doing what we can to address what problems we see. We're not going to get every violation, and we get a lot of complaints like that. How come you stop this guy but not this guy? Well, we can't stop everybody. We stop who we can when we can, but there are other things that take priority over tickets.
And do remember that the enforcement is just part of an overall tool, and that's a lot of what Kusan is working on right now. Doing road diets, changing timing of signals, another thing we're doing. Adding in more crosswalks, adding in more flashers, the whole traffic situation, there may be 10% of everything that we need to deal with when it comes to addressing traffic. One of the big challenges we have is that these neighborhoods were designed under a very different philosophy, thinking that if we put the schools in the middle of the neighborhoods, everybody's going to walk to school. They didn't. So by having the schools in the middle of a neighborhood instead of out on the main street, we're bringing more traffic into the neighborhoods, and that's why we've had to do the speed bumps and the crosswalks and all these things. But some of these are just design. You know, you build something like Great Valley Parkway, which we never do nowadays, where it's a straight speedway like that. People are gonna, those streets were designed for very high average speeds, as was Main and Arturo. Those were designed for very high speeds for people to drive. So we're having to address a lot of the fact that the old traffic engineering philosophies, dictated the way streets were built, and that's why we've had these many changes to our neighborhoods to try and control these things, and the enforcement is part of that, but it's also looking at these other solutions as well that have made an impact on people.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Thank you. I'd like to make a comment, and that is, I'd like to believe, and I do believe, that our officers write what they see. And the thing of saying that there should be getting more tickets and quotas, if you write what you see, you can only give out what you see going on. And I wouldn't really want to drive the behavior that there is an amount of tickets that we need to give out, because that drives negative behavior among people thinking that there's a quota. And that used to be out there. Well, did you get your quota of tickets for this month? So
I've heard that
I think we have to be careful of the message that we're trying to give, but I'd like to believe that our officers are vigilant and they give out what they see, and presence, yes, I do agree that presence stops driving behavior. If I see an officer, I may drive a little bit faster, because I normally drive below the speed limit. That's a joke. But nonetheless, I think that you're doing a good job, and I'm not so incensed about how many tickets. I'm just consistently give what you see. End of comment.
I'm sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you guys, but that's
It
what I
is
got.
what it is. And you're right. Ultimately, I don't want more tickets if you're saying it doesn't change behavior. I was always under the impression, because guess what? I don't want to get a ticket and I slow down. But if you're saying people aren't going to change, then
Well, that's
yeah.
just one man's opinion.
Your opinion.
And I'm nobody. so.
Okay. I mean, again, I slow down and I drive carefully because I don't want to get the ticket. I mean, I think it changes my behavior, but yeah, and ultimately the problem is bad drivers, and we want the community safer. So we're trying to come up with a solution. If giving tickets is not one, well, we got to work on something else. Make everybody watch that red pavement again or something. Nobody remembers it except old people. Old people, raise your hands. They don't watch that anymore. Grubbs probably hasn't seen it. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, I do think, though, having that second traffic officer, we are going to see an increase in citations. Because again, like I say, he just got on board and they just got their motorbike, right? I meant before he was working out of the car, so there's still some training going on.
Yeah,
But
thank you.
Sarge.
Thank you. We haven't considered the fact that maybe people might be changing and driving slower.
The might what?
We haven't considered that people might be driving slower. Is the reason why there's not as many tickets. But I still go with the premise of they can only give what they see.
Yeah.
And not
Again,
just
it's
go out.
It's obviously a complicated topic, but
it is.
it's one that the residents care about. Okay, moving on. Who do we have next? Captain Anthony DeFrenchi, Rank Security. Bye, guys.
Come again.
Good evening, Mayor Sue.
Don't you wish you could give tickets too? Because you probably see it all day long.
I'm good.
You're good, huh?
Tonight, I have our stats from January 17th of 25 to February 17th of 25. Ooh, my bad, I got out of order. Which one you're on? Oops. There it is.
For what?
We have a total of 8 incident reports, 814 calls for service. Most common incidents are 25 suspicious vehicles, 4 suspicious persons. We assisted crossing guards 43 times, And we have 608 security checks. And then far as our equipment, we are putting together with our radio people and the IT people of putting a repeater up for better reception when we're out of the car, because it's very spotty around here for that. So hopefully that will be coming very soon. Our community outreach, our officers still make daily contacts with crossing guards when they're present, talking to them, assisting them in any way they can. We're still out there for the drop-off and pickups at the schools. Hopefully, sometimes we see a difference, sometimes we don't, but we're out there. Sometimes we have to stand on the corners and then everybody plays nice. We had 46 restroom checks and 39 town hall checks, which were for town hall. We get out and make sure all the doors are closed, and sometimes the timings can be a little messed up, so, but we check all that. Any questions?
Comment? Councilmember Green?
I met Brandon today at Altamont School. And
Oh.
he was assisting with the, well, there's not a crossing guard there yet. However, to the traffic and having presence there, I stood with him and watched the people, and he had his lights on and he was parked. And you can see the parents like running late, flying up. And one car stopped to let their kid out in the middle of the street, but saw him and his lights and decided to pull up and go around the corner. So I think that presence, it does make a difference from what I noticed.
Yes.
Even having you guys there, it does make a difference. So I just wanted to tell you that it did make a
Thank you.
difference.
Thank you. Any others? No? Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to item 7, City Council consent items. Consent agenda items will be acted upon by the City Council at one time without discussion. Any council member or member of the public may request removal of an item from the consent calendar for discussion. Councilmember Harrison?
Yeah, I just wanted to discuss 7.1 for approving the,
Which part of it?
under, and I could be wrong, but I just wanted to clarify this, Mayor. Under 8.1, when we agreed to, or the council went ahead and spoke and implemented for the logo creation, it's
Creation?
the logo.
Logo, okay.
Yeah, it shows Councilmember Dan Harrison, I know that guy too. He went ahead and did the motion, and then Councilmember Disco seconded it. And the yays were Matt Disco, Mayor Andy Sue, and me. And noes were Councilmember Rona Green, and Bernice was here too. I thought we all said yay on that, but it's not showing.
Well,
It's
maybe,
not showing you, Ms. Tingle, and then it's also not, it's showing Ms. Green voting no.
maybe that's from the other vote.
Yeah, it may have
So
been from,
is that my mistake, or?
No, you're right.
that was my mistake.
We'll
I
update
can
it.
make a
Oh, okay.
correction.
We'll correct it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, I just want to make sure, because that's a record. And-
all right, so we'll approve with the changes. Anything else? If not, can I get a motion to approve the consent items?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent items 7.1 through 7.3.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Aye.
Roll call?
Councilmember Disco?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Aye.
Mayor Sue?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
All right, moving on to 8.1, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with ezWave in the amount not to exceed $265,521.36. Wow. For the outdoor video camera system upgrade and expansion. What was that? We're not going to approve it because of that? Where was I? Upgrade and expansion project. The mayor calls on Jody. It's Jody. What's that thing? Okay.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. So recommendation slide is here. I'm not going to repeat everything that Mayor just read off right now. So we'll go ahead and go into the background. So right now, the city currently operates 2 distinct networks of outdoor camera systems. The first on the slide is our license plate reading technology utilizing flock safety technology. The locations for the cameras are strategically placed throughout the community, and it does exactly what it says in the name. It's reading license plate, it's providing real-time data to law enforcement, it's looking at traffic flow patterns, and really overall enhancing our public safety. This is separate from our regular surveillance camera system. So we have 31 cameras for our surveillance system located throughout the city. They're located typically in public spaces, parks, at facilities. And really, this is just a deterrent. It's providing that real monitoring. And again, we're expanding and optimizing our use of public safety here. Our challenges. So we do have some challenges with our current systems. So just real quick overview of what those challenges are here. So for us, it's our decentralized and outdated video storage. So what does this mean? It means right now that each camera assembly has its own unique video recorder that's mounted in one assembly. And what does this mean? It means that we have fragmented video. And so in terms of having a comprehensive video storage, it's not there for us. The technology is slightly outdated, it's no longer supported, and is obsolete. Secondly, all right, so we're looking at our security and durability. When we're talking about this, in short, the current assembly is not made for outdoor use. It's really prone to vandalism, the way it's mounted very low. And so, again, this is for public safety. We want to make sure that this is set up so that it can withstand not only the outdoor elements, but we're not going to have issues in the future with tampering. Lastly, this has to speak to the data transmission capabilities. With the ever-changing technology, 4G, 5G, we have limited ability to keep up with the bandwidth, and so we need an expansion of that component. What am I doing wrong? This is where I am going to invite my friend to talk about the operational performance.
What a segue, right? Mayor, council, staff. There's 4 words there: preparedness, prevention, response, and recovery. When we brought this to you before, you had questions. And when we look at public safety, what we're going to do, what we need to do to make it better, we have to apply these 4 things. And we do this universally. I'm pretty sure they do it in a lot of other industries too. When we look at the preparedness, are we ready for whatever it might be? The prevention obviously is, we don't want crime, we want to prevent it. The response is, can we get it so we can get our public safety to respond? And recovery, somebody is a victim, somebody has to recover from what happened. So if we go through there, the next slide would be the questions. I went through and watched the council meeting again, so I should get points for that. Second is I listened to what you asked and what the citizens asked. So let me see if I can't answer those for you. These are the questions that I heard. What's the value of having cameras? You know, how does the public feel about the cameras? Discovery with the FBI, and I just basically give them your name, Councilman. I just said, just so see her. And then best practices to describe decreasing crime in the matrix. And you see there's only 4 there because Councilman Disco actually did a pretty good job of explaining what we were trying to do. So there was no question with his. So let me go through them real quick with the next one. When we talk about crime prevention itself, when we talk about crime, there you go, thanks, she's new at this. These are the things when they got asked the question about value. We got asked by the citizen, also by a member of the board. With our camera system, these are real things that we can actually pinpoint. We have had a drive-by shooting here. We would never have solved it just using traditional investigative. We actually had great photographs of the suspect in the car, out the window, if you recall. We've had traffic enforcement issues. You know, you mentioned the speed on the roadway. We had the highway patrol enter into the city. They're pursuing a car over 100 miles an hour on one of our parkways, got into our residential areas. Common sense took over for that officer. He stopped the pursuit, but he also knew we had technology. Technology showing they came into town where they went right to the neighborhood, found the car, towed it and said, here's your ticket and here's your arrest. So they used it to our advantage, protect the citizen and reduce the likelihood of crime. The next one that we had on here is park damage. The little yellow car, no, not yet. You're too soon. See the little yellow car that says fake taxi? I think that says it right there. Now this young man drove through our parks during the daytime. Did we have citizens calling us? They did. Citizens were reporting, but more importantly, because of our camera systems and the way we strategically placed them throughout the community, we were able to identify the car, identify the driver, we towed the car, and thanks to the diligence of the sheriff's department, they actually impounded that car to the point where it was probably never going to be able to be retrieved because of the cost. So there are some laws that allow them to do that. This was exercised there. The next one that I have in there is school fire. I believe the citizen that spoke made it very clear he wasn't representing the school district, but no one has more cameras in this community than the schools. And we partnered kind of with them because we had a school fire. Schools don't burn down. Arson fires are what start school fires. And because of their technology and our technology, we blended it and we were able to follow it through. The fire department's arson investigator says, yep, it's a crime. The sheriff's department picks it up and we held them to answer. Best video evidence you have is that of the kids leaving the school and walking away. The next one we have on there is a fugitive apprehension, and I believe that was just discussed tonight because the sergeant wouldn't take a lot of credit for it, but high-speed pursuits are terrible in the first place. But a suspect getting out and running on you, no one ran from you, right, Dan? No one ever ran from me. Well, they did run from me because they said, I think I can outrun that portly guy. But they can't outrun two things, the cameras and our radios, two vital things. So they chased him into a business. He was hiding in the bathroom. They took him into custody, nobody at risk. So the next is the burglary resolution. We had burglaries happening. They were able to identify the vehicle, a license number, track it, share that information with other agencies, find the people, didn't arrest them for burglary, but they did be able to close this through possession of stolen property and things along those lines. And my favorite is the traffic collisions. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but citizens have a tendency to lie to the police.
No, really?
And if you ever follow on Facebook, that's 100% true, everything you read there. We had a guy crash his car at an intersection. He told the police, I had to go through it because I was being chased, and the officers have to take what's face value. They reviewed the tapes of the area that prior there, the crash happened. Guess what? Nobody chasing him. So those are just a few examples. So I hope I answered the first question about value. That right there is a value way beyond that. Some of the other values that we do are the fact that cameras help reduce the amount of investigation time. When officers are investigating, if they have clear, good video, it helps identify things better. So now number 2, good job. This right here is crime prevention. Now, I told you about the 4 areas. Prevention is the key. Everything police do is prevention. Mr. Mayor, writing tickets is an action to prevent people from doing it. We know that. Prevention is so huge that we know that when we put cameras in public space and we don't describe where it's at, people go up there and go, I don't think I'm going to commit a crime right here because there's a camera. When you folks walked into this building, we saw you coming in, we see you here. Not only are you on camera for home, but we have cameras in here that are functioning very minimal because of what Jody's trying to explain. But people don't commit crimes normally where there are cameras. So that's a big trade-off. You have them, you don't tell them where they're at. Let them wonder, let them guess. Strategically, we know that cameras can't prevent crime 100%. But in the lack of crime in an area where we have cameras, we're going to write it down as a success that the cameras prevented the crime. If you have a traffic officer driving and he stops someplace, monitoring traffic and cars are not speeding, he's successfully reduced speed while he's there. Crossing guards the same way. Presence makes a big deal. Cameras, what people realize, that makes a big difference when it comes to the prevention. No one wants to get caught, but everybody that gets caught, odds are good they're on camera someplace. Finally, the one I look forward to right here, Miss Green. The FBI has 3 abilities to issue a subpoena. The FBI has a unique federal authority that if they have a subpoena and they bring it here to the city, it doesn't matter what our policy is about cameras. They're going to bring that here, and if you see them at the door, you immediately point them to Margaret. The city clerk's going to take that subpoena just like a public records request. But because of her knowledge, she knows the minute she gets that subpoena, if it's not something she can comply with really quick, she's going to walk it over to the city attorney, who has the resources then to determine whether or not we're going to contest it, fight, or comply. If any of you ever get served with a subpoena from the FBI and it's personally addressed, you get an attorney and then comply, because people go to jail sometimes for just not complying with a subpoena. So that puts that one to sleep. If we get that one, it's going to happen. We can't do much about it, other than we could set Margaret up and have her fail, and then that would, no, all right. Finally, let's go to the very last. This was the most interesting, and I anticipated this one because it came from the mayor. The mayor very specifically said, there's got to be some matrix. There's got to be some data that collects this. What do we do? How do we do it? How do we keep track? I'm going to confess to you right now, up until this date, we did not keep track of what kind of activities have happened with cameras. I have a conversation coming up soon with the police lieutenant, with the rank owner, also with our fire, and we're going to say how hard it will, if you have a case or an investigation or something takes place, one more ticket, one box, check it and say, was there a camera used in the solving of this case? Now, if you watch Facebook, our post, we have a burglar that likes to, burglar is not the right word. We have a person who likes to follow Amazon, likes to follow the Postal Service, and they take packages. Because of residential camera, we were able to get a great photograph of the lady doing it. Put it everywhere with credibility. We do it through our own media. The only credible source you have is our own. Don't trust what the public is saying, but we listen to it. So when we talk about these questions, Mr. Mayor, I don't have any statistics for you. But in Europe, they did it. They said that when you put CCTV cameras, which they are everywhere there, they have a 65% less likely to be a victim, and they're almost 70% more likely to arrest somebody for a crime. So I'm going to pretend we have that here. And I believe that answering your questions that you had at the beginning, I did that. The next part, I'm glad Jody's doing the technical part. From the user end, as your director, I work with police and the fire and rank. We need to improve the service. And the way to do that is, like Mr. Disco had said, you gotta stick up and keep current. So I answered the questions you had there. Do you have any additional questions that I can answer regarding the actual operational side of the cameras?
Karen? No, okay, not yet. Disco, no? Okay, thank
All
you.
right. Well, thank you for your time. I'm going to sit back down here and watch Jody
All
finish
right.
this because
Good.
it is just exciting.
All right, let's go ahead and take it home. So project scope, what are we doing? Kind of touched on this already. We are going to install a microwave repeater site. Microwave repeater site is essentially, it's going to be a signal booster for our system. Install a centralized video recorder, network video recorder. We're going to upgrade the existing pole cameras, like we talked about, the housing, the vandal deterrent proof, basically all of the existing camera poles, and then we're going to do 7 additional new pole assemblies. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the procurement of ezWave. This is the agreement that we're proposing to enter into with, and really this is an exception to our competitive bidding process, but this is within our City of Mountain House policy governed by our financial management manual. So first and foremost, they have, a specialized solution. They are, secondly, we say single source accountability. They're a turnkey operation. And then, of course, they are leading the industry with their connections to the various vendors. They offer end-to-end solutions that are going to help us optimize and enhance our systems. Fiscal impact, we do not have a fiscal impact. This is currently budgeted for with our current fiscal year budget. And then lastly, our recommendation. So again, I'm not going to read everything that was previously discussed, but high level, we recommend that City Council approve the agreement with ezWave in an amount of approximately $265,000. And that is it.
Questions? Harrison?
Yeah, I'm 100%. I agree with cameras. Cameras are a great thing. What I want to ask is, and it's going to take a minute for me, Mayor, but I appreciate having the floor here. ezWave, they collaborate with many manufacturers, right?
Correct.
One being, and I might be pronouncing it wrong, Avion or
A Vigilant?
Vigilant? The one that starts with an A? Yeah, Avigion. So we have approximately 30 cameras installed, okay? We know that the cameras and network and that infrastructure are critical to public safety. Agree? Okay. Question, are we using any equipment, contractors, company that provided any of the services to our existing cameras?
Do we currently have a vendor?
No, are we going forward with ezWave? Are they using any of the equipment, contractors, or company that we used for our existing ones? Are we using the Avion folks? Or whoever
Well, we're not
was in charge?
replacing,
No, well,
we're not
Avalon-
replacing the cameras.
Yeah. I'm sorry, City Manager, did you? We are not replacing the cameras. We're going to add some new cameras. But in terms of
But-
employing,
Right, but we are installing new memory or more memory. So this, hear me out here, okay? And again, this is nothing against, shoot, Jody, you weren't even here, Rex, you weren't here. But I just got to look at being a good steward of the council here. According to the project summary report, the current system has several critical shortcomings. One being the video storage, which limits the capacity for advanced analytics. Another is the network components. The current network components installed are designed for indoor environments. How did that happen? Okay, let me finish. I'm just saying, okay, because it should have been for outdoor. So again, yeah, they were designed for indoor environments instead of outdoor environments. My question is, how did we allow these recorders to be installed, and this is important, using 2010 technology that this company, Avion, was deemed outdated and discontinued that technology in 2016. However, Mountain House didn't install those cameras until 2020. Okay, so that's concerning to me, and I'm looking at the price. Okay, so again, they were installed, but again, they were obsolete in equipment. So this tells me that someone didn't do their due diligence in Mountain House here, making sure that we're getting the most updated technology during the installation of our cameras in 2020. My personal feeling is I think we were sold a bill of goods. Okay, this is now going to cost us $265,521 and some cents for this upgrade. I'll just close with this, okay? Our constituents rely on us as a council to make good, sound decisions. We base those decisions on facts that we are presented to by staff and experts in their field. What are the check and balances in place to prevent the city of being sold another bill of goods? I'm done.
I can answer part, and for the upfront part, the people who made the decisions regarding the purchasing and the installing of these cameras are not here any longer, so we can't really ask them. Second part of it is that we have as far as I know, prior, we never really did a due diligence to go up the pole and look to see what was stuck in the box. Nor did we look to see what the condition of the box was. We just kind of trusted, and trust is a long word. In our industry, in government, we are not experts in all things. We have to trust those who, at the time, were. We had folks that were here that I suspect probably had good knowledge, but it wasn't applicable. The difference that we have today, and we're not replacing everything with this, so you know, we're upgrading and bringing it up. It's something that needs to be done. The benefit we have today is we have the deputy city manager who is very knowledgeable. We have Roger in the back who's pretty quiet, but Roger is learning more than he's ever wanted to know about cameras. He's actually gone out and looked with ezWave and with one of our engineers to look at this. So you're right. You're right. Should have it happened this way? I don't know what happened then. When we were in a city, the board was done different. I think you were the chairman, because I did start in 2019, and we needed it then. We needed it. We had a lot of public pressure to get it done, and we also had pressure that this is the company to use. So now I think we've moved beyond that. The company that provides the camera will provide the same camera type to ezWave. The other part about ezWave is I could drive over to the company right now, knock on the front door, which is in Escalon, and say, what are you doing? With the company that we had used there, it was a corporation that we didn't have the ability to walk up to and ask. Just didn't. So today, as you look through this and you saw the technical stuff in the back, this is probably more along the lines of a normal upgrade. It's just that we have some history. I can tell you, when this is approved, if that's what you choose to do, we're going to have a better system, and we're going to be able to utilize it better than we have in the past. And more importantly, we're going to have a system that we can watch it grow. We can build on it. Our developers are going to be given very clear, this is what you need to do to join our current system. So many things we fix all the time. This is a big fix. And I'm glad you asked the questions. And I'm sad that we weren't here to be the stewards of it.
Yeah, and Rex, I agree, and that's why I wanted that response, and I do have the confidence of our staff now. But again, I just wanted to know those check and balances, and I just want to make sure that we're not using anybody that had anything to do with installing those cameras or the data or, the chip card or whatever for memory. Because again, I don't believe they were honest with us, and I don't believe that they presented that to us, those facts or those, when you go through all the dimensions of what's what and stuff, I don't think we were given the true data.
I think you can rest assured that our goal is to always have the best of what we can get, and we learn from lessons in the past.
I have a clarification question.
Go ahead.
I thought I heard that in 2016, when the cameras were put in, they were outdated. And then I also think that I heard that we aren't updating any of the cameras. So I just want some clarification on that. If they were outdated, we're not updating them. I'm getting a disconnect here.
I could speak to that if you wouldn't mind. Vice Mayor, so just the point of clarification, the cameras were in fact a little bit dated, we'll say, but they weren't outdated in terms of technology. It was really the video recorder that is very specific to each and every camera currently right now that was outdated and then no longer supported in 2019. The cameras themselves, not outdated,
Just dated.
just the video recorders.
Okay.
And
Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you. If I may go back to Councilmember Harrison, your comment about the vendor. So I want to, in full transparency, speak to that a little bit more. So today we're here just specifically to move forward with the project to upgrade and expand the systems. However, second to this, we have maintenance. We have a maintenance contract. So you will see us come back here in another month to revisit maintenance of our newly upgraded and expanded systems. So just know that this is going to be a two-pronged approach to our camera systems.
Question.
Go ahead.
You said it's a two-prong approach,
Yes.
and you'll be coming back. Will the other prong come with a dollar cost to it? Mm-hmm. Okay,
So it's already been scoped and planned out right now.
okay. So
What my anticipation, Vice Mayor, to your question is, although we're not here to talk about that today, I think it'll be budget neutral.
But, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, Councilmember Green.
I really appreciate the transparency and the honesty about the cameras. I did, in our meeting with Steve, question him a lot about that, and I respect Councilmember Harrison for bringing that up also, and to just try to understand the different components, because the wording was important to me, because when you say the cameras, that was confusing. So, but it's not the actual camera, but it's the components around the camera, which my question is, because we had faulty equipment, because eventually we were going to have to upgrade the systems, right?
Eventually, all systems need upgrading.
Right. So at this point, I feel like it's kind of neither here nor there anymore. It's something that has to be done. Of course, I don't necessarily like the 265, but I don't know if it would have been anything different. So, you know what I mean? With the, we're not going to get duped anymore, I don't think so. I think that I understand it better. And unfortunately, we just need to move forward.
Councilmember Disco.
How many Vigilon cameras do we have, not including the license plate readers right now? 18?
I believe it's 31.
31, and we'll be at 38?
Yes.
And so with this 265, are we still running hard data directly to fiber? Are we doing fiber, or are we doing radio to all of these?
Wireless.
It is wireless, and then the hub is here?
Yes.
So, and then that'll enable, whereas now you have to wait for whatever signal's available on a 4 or 5G, essentially what your telephone is, to download 1080p in segments by incident from start to end time from a local server on that pole, and however many hours that takes to solve a simple where was the car at this time, whereas now it'll be instant, where you could pull 5 minutes ago to 2 minutes worth of footage and have it in 30 seconds.
I mean,
minute.
make that sound beautiful, but yes.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at here, right? We're looking at spending several hours for, say, a 30-minute video to now maybe 10 minutes for a 30-minute video that we need during an investigation in real time.
Yes, Councilmember.
Makes sense to me. And are we thinking this is sustainable for at least the next 5 years? Because, I mean, obviously, everything needs upgrades over time, right? The next is probably going to be the cameras, then we're going to be in $250,000 to replace every single camera and fiber it.
We're hoping that this will at least hold off for another 15 years, and hopefully we can revisit at that time.
And
This camera, we wouldn't be switching to 8K, and I think we'd be switching to 8K in 5 to 10 years.
I mean, we'll have to make that decision when we get there, but just so you know, every subdivision now, cameras are included just like a sidewalk or a street light. So, we'll be monitoring annually, whether or not, as we put in subdivision requirements, whether we want to at least upgrade the newer cameras. But that'll be a discussion we'll have plenty of.
So we absorb that when we adopt that new addition? You're saying?
I'm saying that now with every subdivision, anything new, it's on the builder to provide the technology, the cameras.
To provide it as an initial investment, but that still turns into a bond for us.
Yes, it still
Right,
turns
so we're still
into-
paying for it. It's just, we're not forking this cost or whatever like we are the 265 right now, up front.
Well, the capital cost for the camera now will be borne by the subdivision, not by us. So,
But ultimately by us.
But ultimately, we'll have to replace everything, but,
But I mean, we're still, even if the builders put it in, we still have to pay for it through bonds when we adopt that
No.
subdivision? No.
No, we just, that's part of their requirements, just like, excuse me, they're required to build, like I said, they have to put in all the, there's a lot of things that are not reimbursable that they have to put in the subdivisions, and this is one of those items.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions, Harrison?
Yeah, I just, again, I'm glad that we're getting the upgrade, okay? We need it. I just wanted to make sure that we're vetting this ezWave, because whoever did it before, we didn't vet good enough because they didn't do us good on, like I said, putting in 2010 equipment when that the manufacturer itself got rid of it in 2016, but yet they put it in 2010 equipment in 2020. And that's what that's not right. Or 21. So that's not right. They should have put in the most updated equipment when they had it. But again, I'm excited, and as long as they've been vetted, I look forward to it.
Any other clarification questions? Public comments, nothing? Let's come back, close public comments. If there's no further discussion, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve,
8.1.
8.1, adopt the resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with ezWave in the amount not to exceed $265,521.36 for the outdoor video camera system upgrade and expansion project.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Disco?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Aye.
Mayor Sue?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
All right, we need to move on. 8.2, approve the communications plan to establish a structured approach to public outreach, media relations, internal messaging, and crisis response. Amanda?
Good evening, Mayor Sue, Vice Mayor Tingle, and other council members. We're getting up the slideshow. All right, perfect. Today, we're here to discuss the communications plan, which outlines a structured approach for public outreach, media relations, internal messaging, and emergency communications. This plan helps ensure transparency, consistent, and proactive communication with residents, businesses, and stakeholders. While this plan touches on crisis communication, a dedicated crisis communications plan will be introduced next month to provide detail and guidance on emergency response strategies. So we're gonna look into, okay, let's see. Sorry. Is it this one? Oh, we're good. All right. The communication plans provides a clear framework for city messaging, ensuring that information is delivered in a timely, accurate, and accessible manner. It strengthens public outreach, media relations, and crisis response while fostering transparency and trust. The plan also establishes communication crisis across city departments and helps manage high-profile issues and misinformation. Staff recommends that the City Council adopts this plan as a foundational guide to the city communications. So we're going to talk about why having a communications plan is so important. Clear, concise communication is essential for building public trust and ensuring that residents receive accurate information. A well-structured plan helps the city proactively address public concerns, manage misinformation, and encourage engagement. Effective internal coordination ensures that departments are aligned, reducing confusion and improving responsiveness. Crisis communication is an important part of this plan, but like I said, next month we will be rolling out a detailed crisis communications plan that will provide a comprehensive strategy for emergency situations. Now we're going to look into the key goals of the communications plan. This plan is built around 4 key goals: clear and concise messaging to avoid confusion, and by ensuring that all city communications align across the platforms and departments. Stronger public engagement increases resident participation through proactive outreach and accessible information. Crisis communication readiness to provide a foundation for handling crises with detailed emergency response protocols coming in the next phase, and improve digital and social media strategies, used modern tools to reach more residents and combat miscommunication. While this plan outlines, like I said, the crisis communications plan, the crisis communications plan that's coming next month will provide this step-by-step response framework protocols in a real-life, real-world emergency scenarios. So we're going to look into the who we need to reach with the communications plan. We're going to tailor most of our messaging to these target audiences. Our primary audience includes residents, the heart of the community who rely on us for timely updates. Businesses and media is the most important partners in spreading accurate information, and community organizations, nonprofit, and advocacy groups that help amplify the city messages. Secondary audiences include neighboring communities and the government agencies, important for regional coordination, schools and education institutions, key partners for civic education and outreach. I have included a matrix in the communications plan that you guys can look at. If you need it to be blown up, just let me know and I can forward that to you, but the matrix is included in this communications plan for you to refer back to. Now we're going to talk about how we will communicate with each audience effectively. Our multi-layered approach ensures that messages reach the right people at the right time. Proactive communication shares updates before residents ask, keeping the public informed. Responsive communication, active listening to feedback, and addressing concerns in a timely manner. Multi-channel communication uses social media, website updates, newsletters, and in-person meetings to reach the broad audiences. Media relations works closely with press outlets to ensure accurate and fair coverage for city initiatives. And like I said, with the crisis communication plan rolling out next month, the crisis communication plan will provide detailed response protocols, pre-approved messaging templates that staff can use, and a structured crisis escalation process. So then we're going to transition into how the digital tools are used effectively. These digital platforms are essential for modern communication and real-time engagement. We will follow best practices for managing official city social media accounts. Misinformation is continuously growing, as you all know, and it is a challenge, but we will monitor and respond quickly to false claims. Interactive content such as videos, live question and answering, and community polls will help increase engagement. Tracking analytics will allow us to continuously redefine our strategies based on data. While external communications is important, keeping our staff informed and aligned is also important as well. Internal communications is essential, and it's for clear and effective communication for all of our internal staff to be aware. Our regular staff briefings, which we do monthly, will continue with ensuring consistent messaging across our departments. Training on media relations and crisis response will prepare our staff for public and press interactions. An internal communications portal will provide quick access to key updates frequently asked questions, and response templates. A clear process for handling public inquiries will ensure that residents receive timely and accurate responses. To measure our success, we'll track the key communication performance indicators. So we will track key engagement matrix to evaluate the effectiveness of our communication strategies. The matrix includes social media engagement, how well our residents are interacting with the city posts, newsletter signups, how many people are subscribing to receive updates, public participation, how many residents are attending meetings and events. Surveys and feedback tools will measure resident satisfaction and trust in city communication. Real-time data tracking will allow us to adjust strategies based on trends and community needs. Finally, let's review the recommendation. The staff recommends that the city adopts this communications plan, and it keeps stepping forward into the transparency, structure, and effective communication that we hopefully get all out of this. This plan will ensure that the information that's put out will strengthen public trust, ensure clear instruction messaging, and lay a foundation for a comprehensive communication plan, which we'll provide next month. By adopting this plan, we're taking a proactive step forward in improving our city communications. Now, that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, please ask away.
No questions. How about that? Any public comments? You had a question? Clarification questions only.
You know, you had indicated that you're going to come back, and I guess for the plan, I would like to see more detailing. It's a broad brush overview, which is good, but it still doesn't say the things that you plan to do and what we're really looking for. It's broad brush, but not any real specifics for me.
What kind of specifics are you
Well,
looking
you said
for?
that you're going to come back, so I'm taking that you're going to come back with more specifics, the areas that you're
Coming back on the
working in
crisis.
and policies and procedures.
Okay, I'm coming back with a crisis. So this communication plan just highlights the crisis communication plan as a goal. And then the crisis communications plan is going into more detail on emergency situations and protocol. That's coming next month. As a part, the crisis communications plan is a little small part of this plan, where everything else is about, it's just a goal.
So more details will be forthcoming.
For the crisis communications, yes.
Okay,
On how to respond to real life situations.
okay.
No other clarification questions? How about public comment? No? Back for discussion? No discussion? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Disco?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Aye.
Mayor Sue?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Let's move on to 8.3. Adopt a resolution approving the proposed social media policy to establish clear guidelines for the use of social media platforms. The mayor calls on Amanda.
Hello again.
Hello.
As we're opening up the slide, social media helps our city communications with residents in real time. Just like how families have house rules, the city needs rules to make sure we use social media responsibly. This policy sets guidelines on how the city should post, respond, and interact with people online. The city council members and city officials are often approached by residents at events, maybe at the grocery store or at meetings, asking questions about city projects. Social media is like those in-person interactions, but instead of the one person asking, thousands of residents can see and respond at once. This policy helps ensure responses are accurate, professional, and consistent. So we're going to get into, I actually need to go back to that slide. the staff recommendation. The City Council is asked to officially approve this policy so everyone follows the same rules. It also protects the city from problems like misinformation or inappropriate comments. Imagine a resident asks a city council member, which you've probably been asked this before, about a new park project. And each member gives maybe a slightly different response. Confusion starts to spread. This policy ensures that whether residents hear information at a meeting or on social media or through official emails, it is the same accurate message. Now we're going to know what the city, we're going to continue on with why the purpose of the social media policy. This policy helps communication with the public in a way that is fair, legal, and consistent. It keeps city employees from accidentally sharing incorrect or sensitive information. It makes sure that when we engage with the community, we do it in a way that builds trust. An example could be that during an election season, we have resident questions about maybe a local ballot measure. And if a city employee posts personal opinions on the city's social media, it could seem like an official endorsement. This policy ensures that city accounts stay neutral and only provide factual information. Now we're going to look into why the policy is important and what it actually covers. It explains who is responsible for posting and reviewing city social media accounts. It sets rules about what can and can't be posted. It covers how we handle public comments. It ensures we follow important laws like the Brown Act and Public Records Act. An example was a resident comments on a Facebook post that the city should, a resident comments on Facebook that the city should immediately fix a broken city light at a busy intersection. And tell me that hasn't happened before, right? If an employee promises on social media to fix it right away, or maybe no response is given to this resident, but let's just say the repair process actually takes weeks rather than just a day that the employee promises due to regulations. The public loses trust. This policy prevents staff from making unauthorized promises online. So let's talk about why social media is important to the city. Social media lets the city give real-time updates like road closures or emergencies. It helps the city share events, programs, and community news. It allows people to ask questions, and get quick answers. It helps build trust between the city and the residents. We had a road closure. We had a couple of them for parades, and many residents check social media instead of the city website. Because of timely updates, drivers found alternative routes and avoided major delays. Without social media, people would have been probably frustrated and uninformed. Now we know why social media is useful. Now let's look on how we plan to manage it. The city's website is for sure the main place for official news. But social media just helps spread the word just a little bit more. Any new social media accounts that are created will be approved by the communications department or city manager. Before anything is posted, it must be reviewed by authorized staff. Emergency updates are handled by trained staff to ensure accuracy. There may be a time when residents post misleading information about a project. Because of the city's policy, staff quickly take action and correct the misinformation. This policy ensures that only authorized staff manage city accounts. Let's talk about the compliance and professionalism. All posts must follow local and state laws, including the Brown Act. The city is required to keep social media posts as public records. The policy protects the city from misinformation or legal issues. It also sets rules for monitoring comments from the public. An example is when a city council member posts on social media about an upcoming agenda item, sharing their opinion before a public meeting. Another city council member likes the post, and maybe a third council member comments in agreement. Even though they don't meet in person, this violates the Brown Act because it creates an online discussion about a topic within the city's subject matter jurisdiction outside of a properly noticed public meeting. This policy reminds officials that any engagement on social media about city business includes posts, likes, comments, or even sharing a post, can unintentionally violate the Brown Act. To stay compliant, all discussions on the city matter must take place in an official public meeting, ensuring transparency and equal access for the entire community. So what happens when someone comments on a city post? The city monitors comments. If a comment is rude or if it's false, the city may hide or remove it. We won't allow comments that are hateful, misleading, or promote illegal activity. Public comments do not represent the city's opinion, only official posts do. An example is a resident posts a misleading rumor on Facebook about the city increasing taxes. If the city ignores the comment, misinformation spreads. If the city deletes it without explanation, people feel censored. This policy ensures that false or harmful comments are addressed appropriately while keeping conversations open. So let's talk about what city employees and officials need to know. Oh, I think I went 2 steps. City employees must complete training before managing any city social media sites. Elected officials must also follow the city's social media rules when posting about public matters. If an official is posting personal opinions, they must clarify that it's not an official city statement. An example is a city member might post about maybe a new housing development. Before it's been officially approved, residents they'll assume that the project is finalized. So that's leading to confusion and can even lead to backlash. This policy reminds officials to wait until official announcements are made by the city before posting. So what's next? We want the city council to, we're asking you guys to officially approve the social media policy resolution. And once it's approved, we will continue with training and providing our staff with that training and on how to follow the policy. The city will monitor and update the policy as needed to keep up with the new trends or any new technology that comes forward. This policy supports the city's goals of transparency and community engagement. I am now open to any of your questions.
Vice Mayor.
Oh, got a lot.
Thank you for your report on this resolution. I think that this resolution is long overdue. I have probably been one that's been complaining about this over a period of time. And I'm glad to see we're going to put something that's a policy in writing that we can all hold ourselves accountable for. And I like it that the staff will be the major communicator to the body, the community in which you serve, because it's getting one-stop shopping from one entity. So I'm very pleased with that. The only thing that I would like to see is that I'm fully in agreement to having policies and procedures that we all adhere to. But going forward, as we embark upon this, I'd like to ensure that we have something in place for timely responses, because timely responses are really imperative, because that helps build trust. When you ask a question and it takes, well, there's words that I hate, as soon as possible, or when we get around to it, or that type of thing. That doesn't make a person feel comfortable that there is a priority. But even if the response is, this may take a while, we'll get back to you in a week, 2 weeks, or what have you, to keep people informed, because those are things that build trust. But I'm excited about this, and because I don't believe that any city governance or anything should be ran off social media from the elected officials. Thank you.
I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you. Do you want there to be a time stamp of when that question is going to be answered, right?
Yes, I'd like to see some guidelines in that, you
Okay.
know, getting.
Like 48 hours or 72 hours? type
Something
of-
that's unreasonable, because some questions take longer to answer, but getting back to people in a reasonable time, well, they're not, so they know that they're going to be addressed and answered.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Just go.
So great job on this. Very glad we have a CIO to handle the face of our community now. It's alleviated a lot of stress from myself. I believe I speak for Andy as well, who would constantly get tagged because we are the first sectors to always respond. Everything in the policy looks great. My only hesitation to want to proceed with this is Section 5, which I believe is reserved for the staff accountability. So how would that be addressed if this were to pass tonight? How would we come back to Section 5 to fill in that blank?
Yeah, once we have to work, as I mentioned to you earlier, we have to, it's something that triggers collective bargaining. So once we've had a chance to consult with SEIU, we would bring back that section. And again, that section only pertains specifically to those people's personal accounts. We've
Correct.
already got in here all the protocols they'll need to follow as an employee on city accounts.
So aside from council accountability, there's currently no staff accountability. And is us approving this going to hold up anything with 8.2's approval for the communications plan? Is this contingent with that, or?
It does go with the communications plan. It is in there. However, this won't hold that up. The employee part is we'll amend this policy and make sure that we'll come back with it with the employee part. We just, like Steve said, we have to go to the unions before.
So I'd personally be more partial to coming back and doing this all at once and using this as a guideline that we can all hold each other accountable for at the time being, rather than waste time going through it all twice. So that's just my feedback on it.
That's great feedback. Just to be aware that it takes time with unions and with employees, and so it might take a couple months before you see this come back. So if you approve this policy now, you can at least have guidelines in place now, and we can just add to those guidelines.
But none of these are customized guidelines. It's all pretty much the Brown Act and everything we received in multiple recent trainings, I believe, right?
Correct, but the public doesn't know what guidelines are, and this is something that we can refer them back to and give the information, just like we had that whole incident that happened on Facebook. We can refer them back to this policy for Ms. Green. She can, share this policy with them.
Oh, Liberty Gate.
What was that? Oh, well, yes, but they can read the entire policy.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Councilmember
Yeah,
Harrison.
it's not a question. I just know when I was going over the agenda and then I saw the 20 pages about the city council, what they should do, I quit reading it because I was like, man, this is bad for me. This is bad. And so I was just like, wow, it just seemed like there was a lot towards the council than there was against the city employees and the public. I just kind of felt that we got punched on a little bit on that.
Just like I said in the opening, you have house rules, right? And so, able to keep the house in order, we have to accept those rules and keep it in order for social media so it doesn't get out of line.
All right, if there are no further clarification questions, can we go to public comments? There are no public comments. Turning myself off. If there are no further discussion, can I get a motion to approve this item?
I'll motion to approve this item.
Second,
I'll second it.
Tingle, roll call, please.
Councilmember Disco?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Aye.
Mayor Sue?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Now we're going to go to brief council discussion items, 8:57. How many minutes do we give Doug?
Good evening, Mayor Sue, Vice Mayor, and Council. Would like to start a discussion on restrooms. As you know, we've discussed this a couple of times in the past 10 years. Back in 2013, we provided a discussion item. Can you roll back to the previous slide, please? Or then the slide after the last slide. Thank you. Yeah, we provided a discussion item to address the lack of restrooms at parks. And I know the community regularly asks, why don't we have restrooms at our community parks? Well, back in the early days when Mountain House was planned, the intention was to have community parks, just like Mr. Pinkerton stated earlier, that were in the center of our neighborhoods. And so the thought process was that the neighborhood community members would go to the parks, play, and if they had to relieve themselves, they would go back home. Well, as you know, little children have a tough time making it back home several blocks sometimes, and especially if you have people that go on long walks, just like the gentleman that came here 2 meetings ago addressed the council with their concerns and their request to have a restroom placed at each park. So the other thing that was also adding to, I guess, the situation was the fact that athletics played a huge part in the requirement that we have some restrooms on site. So what came about was the placement of portable restrooms. And so that took place. We went on through 2017 and created a policy that would allow portable restrooms placed at parks so that we can regulate them and permit them and offer some guidelines so that, you know, we could protect our stormwater runoff and our permits and whatnot. And also, we also provided a design of enclosures, because one thing that was happening was residents were complaining of being downwind from these portable restrooms or across the street, if you can imagine. So there was concerns there. So we were going to design some enclosures and pretty them up. But, you know, a restroom is a restroom. I mean, it's behind there, you could see it, and it still exists. So it seems like every 3 years we visit this. In 2020, it was requested we come back during a workshop to explore putting a brick and mortar in. And these portable restrooms were more of a prefabricated building. And it was probably on the less expensive spectrum of buildings. And these came in at about $200,000 a piece. And so the total package for 4 parks was just under $1 million. What we did, you know, after that, we looked at, you know, to bring back to you tonight, I looked at what the cost was for Hanson Park and Cortez. And those restrooms cost just under $300,000 to build. However, they also were designed to be placed. So you had sewer, water, power already piped up to them, and it was all in design. Unfortunately, at the existing parks, we would have to create a sewer connection, establish a water line, domestic water line, power, and whatnot. So that could be upwards towards $100,000 just to provide that, only because you have to fit these into a designed park that did not previously have a restroom designed into it. So you have to move infrastructure around and walkways possibly and hardscapes. So it does get expensive. What I did at that point is, since these restrooms at Cortez and Hanson were built about 5 years ago, I researched the increase in cost, which was about 30% in construction cost, and added that to the cost. So we have a ballpark figure. But if you also include what we would need on infrastructure, on connections, you're looking at about $500,000 per unit to establish a restroom at each park. Next slide, please. Now, these restrooms are considerably better. These are kit restrooms compared to a prefab restroom that we previously proposed. A kit restroom basically is a kit of Legos, where you put them together with cinder blocks, and they're very, very tough buildings. And considering, the vandalism and, the longevity we want to get out of these buildings, we highly recommend that. Another part of the expense that we have to look at is the annual maintenance. So what I did is I took the current contracts that we have with our restrooms currently and estimated that into the 4 additional restrooms we would have. This is the additional cost of just under $100,000 per year that it would cost to maintain the additional 4. I did not include, you see the asterisks there, I did not include vandalism. And of course, with every restroom, we have vandalism. And it fluctuates. It gets bad, then it wanes. But that price could easily double in 1 year. So we have to consider that. And of course, there's extra labor to go in and address these issues and clean graffiti and things that we don't normally see the cost of. And even rank unlocking and locking the restrooms is a process. So there is a lot of hidden cost as well. So we're just looking for basic city council direction, and we could revisit this and come back with a more defined estimate. And
Or you could revisit the porta potty costs from 2017 as well.
Well, the porta potty cost, I researched that shortly before the meeting, especially, that was about yesterday. It's about $63 per porta potty toilet per cleaning. So just a quick estimate in my head, if you're looking at porta potties placed at the parks, especially they'd have to be within a compound. I don't think we just place them out in the middle of the park. But $63 per cleaning, you figure about 2 or 3 cleanings per week, you're looking at $1,000 just to maintain those porta potties. However, they are a huge target of vandalism as well. I mean, kids love to tip them over. I don't know why. They love to push them over. They got to be staked down. So there is a process of keeping them staked down, unstaking when they have to be removed and cleaned or replaced, and whatnot. And so there are options.
Or you could do it with the enclosures and, pour a slab and do it that way, but, you can go everywhere from a $10,000 shed to a $100,000 enclosure. So there's a big wide variety.
I could build you anything you want. So it's just how you want to do it.
I think I saw green first.
I was just curious because in our packet, there were pictures of porta potty options and enclosures and stuff. Is that not in this?
If it was in the packet, yes, those were previous discussion items in prior years. And so you've probably seen the enclosures that we first designed. Cedric Hawthorne brought back another design that was probably much nicer. But all these were basically a slab with a screening fence that surrounded it. And there was access for the contractor to come in and unload and load and take the unit out. Also, there wasn't a capture feature on it so that if there was a spill, we can capture it and clean it. And that's probably what you saw.
Yeah, it was, it showed how they were previous and then how they would be updated. And they were in enclosures and they were brought closer to the curb so that,
Right.
so that's not in this presentation?
It's not, because this is a discussion on probably the level of a facility you would wish for, or, on what you want.
This is just to introduce the subject to see if you want to go any further. So that's why we've already gone through a lot of detail on the porta potty, so we wanted to also update you on the updated costs on the more permanent facility, but that's an option as well. But we didn't want to do too much due diligence until we heard from the council this evening.
Councilmember Vice Mayor Tingle?
Thank you for your report. I know the porta potty issue, especially in the older communities, has been an ongoing subject over the years. And since I was around, I remember the dialogue. I would be more interested in coming up with a plan. There's still about four villages that do not have the any facilities. And, and I understand why they aren't there. My phrase is that when you know better, you do better. We do know better now. We've mitigated the problem for the villages coming in, but I do think that we need to strongly prioritize, perhaps, and visit the older villages. And I would suggest the older villages first. They've been around longer, to come up with a permanent solution. And I do know that when Mountain House first got started, the initial plans, probably 30 years ago, we saw our city, our town, doing business differently. There was a school in the middle of each village, and you didn't need a porta potty because everyone could go home. But we even do our parks differently now. We rent our parks out to people in neighboring cities, and they're sure not going to go to anybody's home to use their toilet. So we're just doing things differently. So we do need to, I think, address it long-term and do it in a logical order where it's fair for everyone, and work on a permanent solution so all of our villages look alike. I do recall when we I specifically remember they were blue and very ugly. And there were complaints that, the houses were starting to go up in price, and you have a $800,000 home, and right across the street is that awful blue toilet. Well, I could appreciate that. Fortunately, my house wasn't in front of it, but I have a burden for other people too. So as we do things, I would say, that's why I'm saying that we should probably come up with get figures on permanent solutions and stage it in, so we're not spending bad money after good or good money after bad. I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. End of my comment.
Just go.
So did Neighborhood B as a, jumping off course a little bit here, but Neighborhood B has a bathroom plan?
Yes.
So every park past Cuesta, we've put in the plans to have.
All right, Hanson, Cordis, B Park. A Park is smaller, it probably will not, but there is one in B Park, which is a more larger neighborhood park. And I'm pretty sure in J, we've got it planned for
anything
the
around 5
park
acres.
being done in J as well.
Just learning from mistakes, because this would have cost, what, 125, 150,000 when Wickland, Bethany, maybe Altamont were built, even less when Cuesta was built, probably 100 during the recession, right?
Probably 100 back in 2005, but yeah.
Probably 150, 200,000. Yeah.
That's true. I think I did some in Stockton for 150 or so, but yeah, it's gone up significantly.
2.2x?
But also,
2.3x?
it's much less expensive to design it into a park, originally. So,
Right. When you have raw ground that you can go dig a trench through and connect to the services, right?
I mean, B Park's going to be about 10 times what Wickland Park was.
So I mean,
overall.
looking at the packet, the proposed portable toilet enclosure, not so much just like a fence, but an actual open-faced shed with a little guard wall and a couple concrete anchors to the legs of the porta potty. What does it cost to buy a porta potty and service somebody like Windmill or one of the rental companies just to service it? Do they offer that?
Exactly. We would contract it out, obviously, and it's.
I mean, would we buy the physical unit and contract the service cleaning?
No, it would be fully contracted out. They bring them in, they set them down, and then they provide service to clean.
But I feel like it'd be 40% less if we bought the physical unit and contracted them just for the cleaning. Because
would
even if
think-
we replace it every 3 years, we've probably already renting it every 3 years, you could have bought 2 of these.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the purchase because I never, ever researched the purchase of a porta potty, only because it's so reasonable just to rent.
I mean,
them.
an ADA unit's about $4,200. So,
Yeah, I could definitely bring that back, though, and research that.
thank you.
Yeah.
Harrison,
Yeah. Doug, were any of the portables that we've had, were the sports associations paying for those, or was Mountain House?
Those are paid by the athletic organizations, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and mainly used by them, unless they are left unlocked.
well, they're left unlocked and people use them.
People use them.
All, yeah, no, I've seen many, many, many people use it.
Right.
During, but, Green.
I just have just a clarification question. So are you suggesting that we move more towards the,
No.
okay, let me get it out.
Yeah,
Let me-
get it out.
Let me get my question out
I am
and then say
sparking the
no.
conversation.
Okay?
And-
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, because we don't have the other pictures of the enclosure, I didn't know if we were looking at all of these options, but now it kind of seems like we're looking more towards the actual physical bathroom in the parks now. So that would include the underground piping and everything needed for these bathrooms.
So you bring
Now
up
say
good
no,
questions.
Mayor.
I mean, so what I put the cost towards is a bathroom that has 2 facilities, two neutral bathrooms that could be used by anybody. Now, there is a cost to design it into the park, and there's a cost to, engineer that. So that cost was not in this yet, just so you know. This project rolling out could be $2 million to put brick and mortar restrooms in 4 parks. However, if
$2
you
million a piece or total?
Total.
Okay.
Yes. And yeah, about 500,000 per restroom. Now, this is for 2 units per park. If you go unisex, 1 restroom, could be less. Of course, it's still going to cost to pipe in the sewer, water, and
It's not
power.
going to be 50% less.
Yeah, it's not going to be, it's going to be the same just about.
No, I'm just trying to, I was just trying to understand what we were looking at. So we're not even considering the enclosed porta potty. We're just more so going towards the,
There could be consideration on anything tonight.
Okay.
And I'll take direction.
That's
on-
where I was going to say no. He's neutral. He's
Yeah.
saying you could do any of the above. We have to give him direction too.
yeah, I agree, I understand that, but I just didn't see that I saw it in our
Yeah,
agenda
but yeah,
packet,
yeah.
but I'm not seeing it here, so I didn't know whether we were discussing all of it or just this particular item. So I do
I'm just
understand.
throwing it up there.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate it.
ultimately, I think the decision point is $2 million for a permanent or less money for the portable that, with the enclosure. I don't think anybody wants just the portables, and I don't think the 4th option of doing nothing is great. So I think the really 2 true options are $2 million approximately plus 90,000 per maintenance, so it's 360,000 per total for 4 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and may I add, this will be a budget item. So it's not like tonight you're going to say, well, come back with our $2 million project. This will be budgeted out and planned into our next fiscal year, and it could be a multi-year plan. It doesn't have to be all at once.
Yeah,
it's
we would
whatever-
bring it back during budget study session if
Right.
you gave us direction this evening.
I want to say something too. The problem with the permanent $2 million, of course, that's the nicest, is that we take $2 million away from something else. No, it's, whether you plan it or not, it's $2 million that you're spending on A that you cannot spend on B. So the porta potties are not as good, but again, If we had infinite money, of course, give me the nicest bathrooms in the world, but we don't have infinite money. You're careful about your money, so, yeah, so.
About my taxes, too.
Right, so that's why I want to look into the enclosures, at least to make them look nice. And I like, what's that guy's, Councilmember Ernest Disco. If we buy the units, and, if we could save money, because you said $63 times, 3 times a week, it's $10,000. Well, if we buy it, maybe the service is less, maybe we can see which is, I mean, we're not talking about big money, but, either way, I want to explore the porta potty option, just so that, you know what, when I really need to go, I don't care if it's a permanent bathroom or porta potty, as long as it's relatively clean, right? And, just because it's a permanent doesn't mean it can't be vandalized. They both can be vandalized. So that part, I feel like it's neutral. So one will cost us less than $50,000, one will cost us $500,000. I mean, those are the decisions we have to make.
Well, we don't have we don't have the cost, though, for the
Oh,
other one. That's
no,
what
we-
that's,
No, we.
Thank you.
We have, well, I mean, I've been here we have talked about in the past, the enclosures are not more than $50,000. Pour the concrete, put up, shoot, I could build that in no, I'm not going to, but just the wooden enclosure to put the porta, it's a lot less than the permanent bathroom. So, yeah, let's bring it back. Let's bring that option back so we can compare the two choices. You guys have any other thoughts?
Just for clarification of what I understand you to say, is you're saying bring back several options with the porta potty, with the, you said temporary enclosure, or?
No, 2 options.
2 options.
Well, and bring back the second option. You gave us the first option today. Bring back the option with a nice enclosure so we don't see the unit, and concrete, you did this before. You just dig it up.
Okay, but what about the option of where we have a permanent facility like in the villages that we're currently putting up? I mean, something that's going to last and be permanent, and not something that we're upgrading along the way. I just want to make sure that all the options are there, because if you do it village by village, you don't have to do everything at the same time. We could budget in. Well, I'd like to see it in several options, like you're saying, with maybe doing the portable, which before it didn't go over big because people see things as an eyesore. But work on a plan where at the end of the day, everything will look the same or would be nice in each village.
They already gave us that option today.
But they didn't give us an option with money. I'd like to
With the
see
cost.
with the cost.
They already gave us the option today. It's $2 million.
Okay.
You can
Well,
spread it out over 4 years if you want, but it's still $2 million. In fact, if you spread it out, actually, it's going to go up, yeah.
Then actually what I said when I initially spoke is what I really do. I'd like to see a permanent in every community that we haven't addressed before. And I'd like to see what that plan would look like, even if we have to do it over a period of time, over a period of years, to plan it into the budget. And no, we probably wouldn't be able to do everything at one time, but at least stage it in and have a plan for permanency.
Right, we can come back at the budget study session with either setting aside $500,000 a year for 4 years for the remaining parks. And, Bethany technically does have a restroom, it's just not in the park, it's out in pardon?
Wait, where's the Bethany bathroom?
Out in the middle of it. Well, the Bethany neighborhood has a restroom facility, just not in the park.
Where is that?
Out in the,
Bethany Creek Trail.
Oh, that's a
creek, yeah,
different, that's
yeah.
a different,
Yes.
right. But I'm just
But it's a-
saying that
it's a bathroom.
what we can do is.
no, it's so far away,
What we
might as
can,
well.
we can propose as part of the budget, we can come back at the study session and say, when we're going over the CIP, here's 2 alternatives for you to review and ask us to take forward to the final budget. And what we'll do is, I think the $500,000 is probably a pretty good estimate of what it will be to build something equivalent to what are in the other neighborhoods, and then we'll come back to you with more information about what the the porta potty plan B would be, what you would get for, say, 50,000 a year and what the maintenance cost would be.
And we can also provide options on different styles of brick and mortar restrooms too. Like the $500,000 model is something you'd see over at Hanson and Cortez. Maybe I come back with, a single restroom unit that is, permanent. But, I could refine the cost and the estimates and bring back more of a refined plan on both accounts. And you could,
Only if it's saving money, because otherwise it's, if you can have 2 units for almost the same price, it seems silly to go 1 unit for 480,000, right? So Vice Mayor Tingle would like to see a staged over so many years. Of course, 500,000 this year is not going to be 500,000 in 4 years. But I want to see the porta potty options with a nice enclosure. And the benefit with that is that, these people who are complaining or the people who need the bathrooms, we could put the porta potties in a few months.
Right.
You're staging it out over 4 years. Whichever village, maybe Cuesta, they're not going to get it for 4 years. So at least temporarily, we can put the porta potties in there for now so they can all go to the bathroom. And when we, hit the lotto or we collect a whole bunch of taxes and we have $2 million, then we could put in the permanent. I'm just saying it's a lot of money. And no matter what, you use it for bathrooms, you're taking away from something else in a future park. Instead of a baseball field, it's going to be a dirt field because of the $2 million that you took. Right? The money doesn't, it's not like it's a fixed pot.
We'll bring it all back to you.
Yeah, I would like to see it all brought back.
Yeah.
So we could, just like a salad bar, you can pick and choose. But you said something that's key, and that is when you spoke about Hanson and Cortez, things are the nicer ones. And I believe that our tax rate is the same in every community. Every community is entitled to the same thing. End of comment.
Have you seen, they have a lot of different varieties now of what you call a porta potty? They're not just the blue, single,
Right.
ugly porta potty that
Semi-permanent.
all they had, right? They have, it. Well, I know when I was looking at the, whatever this is, I was looking at that had the pictures in it.
Packet, yeah.
The packet, thank you. You had pictures of that. That's the only thing that I was just like wanting to see those. But they have some really, really nice porta potty, free, standalone, where they have a male and a female. You could walk into it. They're very, very nice. They're not the blue ones. So can you look into some different type of porta potties that, are not just the ugly blue ones that tip over with the wind, and just include some of those also? Maybe that might help a little bit.
Yeah, you remember when we went to the Modesto Car Museum?
Exactly.
Yeah, the
That's
porta
what I'm
potties
talking
are just
about.
like regular bathrooms.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but they're kind of in between, not as bad as just don't give us too many options. but
probably
give us
be-
some
I
options.
could bring all those options. And
Yeah.
We'll probably see some in Sacramento at the park show next month, in
Oh, I'm
fact.
sure
They
I
always
will.
have
In
some.
fact,
Yeah.
I'll bring back
Yeah.
a lot of information, but.
Okay,
you
this is
will
a
be
discussion
porta-potty
item.
shopping,
So Doug, you have our clear instruction
I've
to
got
bring stuff back?
Plenty to bring back.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug, for making Quest to be the first one. I really appreciate that.
You want to be what?
Nothing, I'm done.
What did he say?
He was
It
being
did,
funny.
it did
We
make
always
sense.
like to
It
crack jokes.
didn't, yeah. No, Cuesta will not be first. They will be third.
I think it should be done in order of the communities, the way they were started. Thank you very much.
All right, moving on.
Seniority
Bethany
always
needs a second.
rules.
Kusan. Did you bring Calvi today? No? All right.
Good
All right,
evening,
let's-
Mayor,
hey, guys,
Vice Mayor,
let's move on.
council members.
Yeah.
The discussion item before the council is regarding the California's new daylighting lighting law, AB 413. This short presentation will outline the new law as well as the city's implementation plan.
What happened?
Doesn't it work?
They didn't have any. You gotta hold
This
it
one?
now.
Yes. This is a highlight for the new law. 3 things, not a big deal. 3 key items. Effective January 4th, 2025, no parking within 20 feet of any marking or unmarked crosswalk. No parking within 15 feet of crosswalk with curb extension. Does not work.
Are you gonna show us some examples?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't know what those are.
This tells everything about the new law. So unmarked crosswalk, no matter what, we gotta secure 20 feet. Sometimes 15 feet when we have a curb extensions, which is called bulb out. Sometimes 2 cars, not 1 car, because of 20 feet requirement. I wanna say that this one photo tells everything about the new law, AB 413. So this is the driver's viewpoint. There is a silhouette for the new vehicle, another vehicle. And as you can see, there is a mom with a stroller, a baby, and she's on the phone. This is how we are going to face potential accident. State wanna make sure that we don't wanna create some other potential very tragic accident because of that issue. That is all about this law. That's why eventually we are going to enhance the road safety by improving visibility at intersections. However, it might create some potential impact on parking availability and some concerns from the resident. And this is the implementation and enforcement. Of course, we need to implement some red paint on curb at intersections or signs sometimes. Well, at this point, we want to focus on the hot spot because we cannot paint every single corner of intersection overnight. However, we can focus on very specific hotspot, which is called hotspot, including the school and parks. We want to start from that hotspot first, based on the priority. And also, we want to have a really good transition from warnings to citations. I'm going to provide a little more information at the end of the slide with some actual violation, what's happening in real world, in our neighbor. The safety benefit, we have several safety benefits as we saw here. Improved visibility for drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists. And reduce some potential injury, accident, and fatal accident by up to 30%. This is from the state. So 30% is a big deal for our community as well. We want to make sure that we are going to implement this new law. And we are going to support some programs like a safe route to school, and eventually we are going to create safer or more accessible communities. And we also want to be a little bit more flexible. So I'm going to cover this section end of the slide. Why we need to be flexible for these types of new law. This is very important for our resident. Cost is always a major item for our community. As I mentioned, we cannot paint every single corner of the intersection overnight. So however, we already proactively incorporated this law into the planning phase for the new development. So that is the one sample of a new condition for the new development. That means that the developer is going to conduct a new law now, not 2 years later. Otherwise, we are going to go back to the site to retrofit the curb in the future. We don't want to see that situation. So we already started public awareness and education. This is one example of the information we are going to distribute throughout the website or GoGov platform. This is a key for providing really clear information to our residents and communities. So that's why interaction between the city and the resident is a key component for successful program. And also, we want to monitor and evaluate the new law. This is not just one-time action. It's an ongoing action, similar to the speeding, taking care of the speeding issues, other traffic issues. Very important for our communities. That's why we are going to collect more data on a regular basis and conduct some assessment so that we can modify, we might modify some requirement or our implementation plan in the future. This is a very simple conclusion. Again, AB 413 is the new law, not a recommendation. And the public awareness is the crucial for the successful implementation. And periodic inspections and assess the safety impact is very important. And also we need to increase our community to support this new law. And we are going to prioritize the hotspot, such as school and parks, so that we can focus on very important areas to prevent any potential accident in the future. So this is the photos taken over the past weekend. As you can see, high visibility crosswalk. It means that these photos were taken in front of school. Many violations. The owner of the vehicles are very different from reckless drivers. They have parked their car for many years, but all of a sudden, the new law kicked in. So, but we don't want to punish our good resident. So rather than giving the citation immediately, we want to increase our public awareness more and more. That's why the key thing is that we are going to work with PIO, our sheriff, very great safety enforcement task force, and our city manager's office. So we are put together our collaboration to improve the public awareness. That's a discussion item. I can answer any question you may have.
Councilmember Harrison.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Just so you know, AB 413 was approved a year ago,
Yes,
okay? But it went into effect in January.
that's right.
Now we're running into March, okay? I mean, how long are we gonna keep educating people? Or are we gonna wait until we have a fatality? And then all of a sudden, oh, okay, let's start giving it. I think we've given people a 3-month, because most cities, they're ticketing now.
Yes.
Okay, so I meant, at some point, I'm kind of against, just my recommendation is to keep, let's keep extending this and extending this. The law's the law, and again, we're going into the 3rd month now, and I don't think we need to keep extending it, for another 3 months, and then, okay, let's extend it for another 6 months. People get the idea if they start getting
That's right.
tickets, so that's just my
Wait.
thought on it.
Thank you.
I thought you agreed earlier that it doesn't change behavior, or did you not?
I didn't agree with that.
Oh, you didn't agree, okay.
That was the sergeant's own agree. I believe getting hit in the pocketbook's good. I was just happy if somebody had a driver's license in the city I worked for.
Any other questions? Disco.
Well, being that certain people are corner house homes and others are second house from the corner homes, I don't think this is something we should enforce right away. What does the cost look like of painting the curbs red versus gluing down pylons to, signify the appropriated mark? And does this condition apply to all crosswalks or just those on a corner? Like, what about mid-block crosswalks in front of schools and things like that don't particularly have
All
a traffic, all intersections only,
Yes.
not mid-block crosswalks?
It's all intersection, not the middle block.
Intersections
Yeah,
only,
that's
okay.
right.
And then what is the cost of,
Yeah.
Yes, we cannot block the crosswalk no matter what, where.
no, I understand that. So this applies to 20 feet from a crosswalk in an
Crosswalk.
intersection.
Yes,
And is it 15 feet for a crosswalk that's in the middle of the block with no intersection?
no, that's a curb extension, which is called bulb out. Bulb out itself has a certain distance, approximately 5 feet. That's why in that case, we require 15 feet clearance because we already have bulb out width of 5 feet.
But around the schools and things like that, we have, and,
We don't have many locations, but we might have some.
well, for example, right here, well, no, actually, no, this one has the outlet to Giada here at the park, so.
So the key thing is that we need to identify the hotspot first because we don't want to wait. As Councilmember Harris mentioned, we don't want to wait. But we want to tackle that hotspot first so that we can implement all our implementation plans ASAP.
How many intersections do we have with crosswalks where this applies?
Unfortunately, many, but as I mentioned, we want to tackle the school first, school regions and parks, because we are going to see a lot of activities over the weekend.
But for the schools and parks, I'm all for painting the curbs red, but is there a more cost-efficient way is what I'm implying towards the, I don't know, 600 other intersections that or 400 to 600 other intersections we probably have?
Yeah, for those who do not know this law yet, I think a red paint is the most effective way to prevent
It just
violations.
seems, yeah, I mean, something needs to be done because it's a law, right? But what's the timeline if we were to paint every curb red?
Yeah, we are working on the timeline and location right now, so that's why we want to move forward this item ASAP. That's why we brought this item as a discussion.
Great, thank you.
The law does not require red paint.
Red paint is not required.
Yeah,
We
I
don't
know, I
have to.
realize it's more clarity, but 600 intersections is gonna cost
I don't know if it's 600, it's probably closer to 300.
probably more. You're talking about 8 villages now.
And more to come.
Just, no, well,
No,
remember,
all, yeah,
any intersection, I mean, for example, we
Every-
don't paint
every
crosswalks
car-
at every crosswalk.
yeah.
That's right. Some residential areas, we don't have to paint the crosswalk, but still the law apply to that intersection, no matter what.
They could give out like 1,000 tickets a day.
Right.
If they,
I had a clarification.
Yes.
The visual that you have here, I'm not clear on how much time frame you were giving. Okay, it's a new law went into effect, effective January 1. Have these residents or houses been notified? I mean, how much time are we giving them?
We can release some more information throughout the website as I provide that information in the previous slide. But we want to develop very intense timeline for that specific school, the areas. So we want to actually put some notification as a warning, and next time, just a citation. So that's why, for example, we close the school. We want to target some specific weekend. We are putting some notification for all the violators. The next week, we don't want to wait 2 months or 3 months. We are
And
going to
I'm all
start
for
the-
that. The sooner the better,
Yes.
because it is law. But I guess my question is, how aggressively can you, if you have a timeline, you can't do everything at one time, but how aggressively can we be around the schools giving what's considered ample notification to let people know that effective of January 1, this was in violation, any offenses after a certain date will be dealt with accordingly. So people have ample notice. And then have our own timeline as to when we're going to paint the curbs red, green, blue, or whatever.
That's what we are working
But
on.
just
public awareness.
give people ample notice so they'll know what the penalty is going to be.
That's right.
So Councilmember Green, go ahead.
We have the sign out by Main Street that gives information out. You know, can we use those also maybe? Because if we put out starting March 1st, you will be getting a ticket, just like they do buzz driving is drunk driving.
That's a great idea.
So can we do that?
Yes, we can do that as well. So there's a several combination of notification, not just one mailer, because not many people actually check the mail.
This
They
is
just
true.
throw that away. It is why we gotta implement any means as many as possible, not just one way around.
I got a question.
Many combination.
You have another question? All right, Harrison.
Yeah, just for the city manager, Steve, isn't it the new development, the developers are gonna make sure all they're all painted red? For,
Yes.
He noted that on one of the earlier slides, that it's a new condition on all the developments,
Wait,
new developments.
just for the ones by the school or every intersection?
So the condition we added is adding the red paint all intersection.
Wow.
However, contractor might come back with some exception. That's how the law works. We cannot simply say that you don't have to do this. We don't have to provide the details. We provide the guideline, and they're going to conduct based on the law. That's their requirement.
All right, here's my question. This will be a tougher one. After our warning week, whatever, week or 2 weeks, and there's 1,000 cars parked illegally, does the traffic cop give the tickets, or does the city staff give the tickets?
It's the sheriff. This is vehicle code, right? This is all vehicle
Code
code.
enforcement.
Also, we're talking about three tickets per day? But it doesn't change any behavior, though. Go.
We talked about
Go.
toilet solo after.
Go to the toilet. But we're almost done. All right. So what, do we have direction for this item?
This is a discussion item, so we already implementing the plans.
Like, how many weeks of warning are you doing?
I'm sorry.
How many weeks are you going to warn people?
So as I mentioned, there's several schools. We are targeting school 1, school 2, school 3. So we will tackle each school over the weekend or the daytime, I mean the weekdays to give the notification, and then we are moving toward the next school one by one. That's our action plans.
Again, how long will this take? Like, how many weeks are you going to warn the 8 schools?
So each school, the warning, as I mentioned, is an intense week. We call it intense week. We are going to issue the warning on the windshield, as many as possible. And the following week, we are going to start citation technically based on the warning. So that means that each school, we are targeting over 1 week. Then the second week, we are going to issue citation.
So it's going to take you 8 weeks to do the 8 schools?
That's right. That's our target.
All right, well,
That's a lot of work for our staff.
again,
again-
I don't think behavior changes unless you give out some tickets. But-
Yeah, you know, too, is I feel with that, so, you know, say, oh, we're going to go around school and educate. Well, you know, there's a lot of just residential areas though, too. So if you say, well, hey, you know, we're going to give warnings this week, and then Questa's not till 4 weeks down the road, that's not fair to the citizens, too. Oh, I'll just go park near Questa because they're not going to be enforcing theirs till about 8 weeks. I think it should be
All at the same
Mountain
time.
all-inclusive, you know, I meant, we give them a couple weeks, put out, I like the idea that Councilman Green said, as far as, you know, we have that electronic thing that we could, you know, put out, and then, you know, go from there.
I guess it takes too many manpowers, though, to do intensive
Yeah.
at all 8 schools. I don't know, so what direction are we giving? Your house, you can park anywhere you
It's
want.
just not
paint the
possible
schools.
to do it any sooner. We're just trying to be honest, and you go to any other city around here, you're not going to be able to do it blanket. It's an educational process. We're getting it started, and we'll go as quickly as we can, but we're
It's
not, we
impossible,
can't
yeah.
cover 8 schools all at once.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
way.
That's right.
I think it's a good plan, and the most important part is to make sure that our students are safe. So I think the strategy that you guys are implementing will work. And one thing about it is people in Mountain House talk and use Facebook. So you start with one school issuing out citations, trust and believe it is going to be on Facebook that same day. So the other people will be warned that this is being implemented. So news travels really fast here in Mountain House. So, you know, I mean, sitting here thinking, what else could you possibly do? You can't have, you know, everybody at all 8 schools at one time. So, did you have a comment? So don't forget when public comments come up, Umar has a comment.
Do you want to, no, on discussion, but do you have something else to, do you agree with the direction or the current direction?
I think a better way is with that, that one that we have that tells, you know, people, the ones that's right on Main and Central here. Is that portable? Can that be moved?
Yep. I mean, how many of those do we have?
Oh, I don't know.
We don't have enough to cover.
We have 2?
How many-
No, I know,
we-
but if
yeah.
just put them at different areas throughout, because again, I don't think we should just target this school this week and then this neighborhood or this village the next week.
What do you think?
I just say put those out
How about you?
around and
I think that put those out, target the schools, you know,
But
let me clarify, what is the ask? Are we asking for them to start issuing citations right away without giving warnings? Or are we asking them to do, I don't understand what what are we gonna do?
The current direction is they're gonna do one school that 1 week,
Yeah.
the next school the next week. Are you
And
okay with that?
I am okay, I think it's a good strategy. I think it's, what else can you do?
I like
So I think it's a good strategy. I think once you start giving citations out to one school, everybody's gonna know about it because they're gonna complain about it on social media. So that's gonna be your biggest thing. Issue the citations, the word is gonna spread. Use the, I don't know what they're called, the thingies?
Yes.
With the signs and stuff.
I think
Yeah, use the thingies and, you know, let people know you're getting ready to get a ticket, period. So I mean, I can't come up with a better idea, so I'm going with yours.
school signs
Thank you.
too.
Appreciate it.
Oh, you know, a lot of the schools have a big sign at the entrance. Maybe you could contact the school district and leverage their technology. Okay,
Once people are notified, I have this, I know it may be silly, but what if people are notified and they conformed? Have we ever thought about that? You know, we're thinking of the negative. If people are notified and they adhere to it, and we just go on and paint it. I mean, you know, it's almost the default is that people are not going to do right. Why don't you, you know, you don't operate on the the rule, you don't operate on the exception, you operate on the rule.
Yeah, again, this is a state law, so it's going to be another kind of fire hydrant thing. So even though sometimes they don't, you know, paint the red, but still people don't park in front of blocking the fire hydrant. It's going to be the very similar law like that.
Yeah, but, you know, just to be clear, I think that people notified, you assume that when you're notified, you give an end date, start painting the curb as the plan that's projected, and just let the chips fall where they may. And I think that people normally adhere to red, and I think that they'll, I'm hoping that people will adhere to the rule.
all right,
Thank you for the
Councilmember
comments.
Disco, last comment.
Last comment?
Because I want to wrap it up.
I got like 3.
No, come on, merge them together.
Have we explored doing mailers to all the residents, or maybe doing a full page in Mountain House Matters to bring awareness that this will be enforced day 0 that arrives? Not everyone's digital.
Yes. Yes.
Do everything.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, there was your three comments? You're cut off. All right, you know what, we're moving on. No, so the direction is keep moving forward with your direction.
Thank you very much.
9.3, oh, Steve, it's almost 10 o'clock.
It'll be quick. I don't want to get a ticket from you guys, so.
Yeah. All right.
So
What happened to the trees?
What trees?
We skipped the trees?
We've moved that out a month. We
Pushed it
didn't want
back a
you to be
month?
here till midnight tonight,
Okay.
so. So again, just a reminder, this was a request from the public, and so we'll be posting more information on the daylighting laws, and Amanda's probably already come up with our phrase is clear the way, avoid the delay, right? There you go. Next slide. How many folks have created feedback on the logo, Amanda, as of right now? How many? 3. Okay, so we're getting feedback on the logo. HR, we've got 3 new employees over the past month, including Kusan and our new code officer and our new 4 positions. We've got 3 different, I think 2 program manager, management analyst, and engineer 4 position open. Still working on the total comp study and finishing up the payroll conversion. Congrats to Thomas and Sarah. They got their CMSFO award recently for operating budget excellence.
Thomas, is that Thomas sitting over there?
And they're working very hard to get the budget ready for you in May. And we've had a lot of these old county functions we've now taken over, the accounts payable, payroll and business license, building permit processing. We're definitely the snake swallowing the egg right now with all these changes, with the biggest change being the utility billing transition. The new system will be up and running next month. Should be no big deal to the residents, but we'll probably provide you a little more update at the next meeting, right, Sarah, on how things are going. Parks and Rec, we've had rain, so not as much revenue as we'd hoped. Pickleball's coming. It's going to be court 1 instead of court 3 for pickleball, and they'll be open very soon. Or
Yes, it's
other way
opposite.
around, isn't it? Court 3 instead of court 1, right? And Doug's going to be painting lines soon. All right, and then we've had a lot of senior events. I thought that was wrong. I should have said court 3 instead of. We're going to be having a big announcement on April 1 of the concert series for this summer. And don't forget all the upcoming events, including the bike rodeo on May 3rd. And just a reminder of everything you already heard tonight, our big focus is on traffic and pedestrian safety. And we're doing a lot of work up in the new neighborhoods to make sure that we, like you said, we already have the red zones in, we have the cameras in, we're making sure the parks and open spaces all are going to be safe and aesthetic. And Marty did mention fire station done in a couple months. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Harrison, Tingle, Green, Disco.
How about isn't there something happening on Thursday that you guys are hosting or something with
That's right. We should have had that up
the
there.
Quada Center
I'm
or
glad you
something?
mentioned that. I don't know why I didn't put that in there. We have a design workshop in this room at 7 o'clock on Thursday for the rec center. It'll be an interactive process where people will have we call it a dot exercise, where people can take their dots and talk about the different things they like and that they're interested in with regard to the new rec center, the proposed rec center. Thank you for mentioning that. Rec center and pool. Rec center and pool.
7? 7, right?
7, this room, yes.
All right. Anything else?
That's it?
Thank you. City manager update. Now let's do 10.1, future agenda items.
Just a reminder, don't forget the conference next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in Santa Rosa on Planning Commission work. The next meeting, we'll be talking a little bit about GoGov. And, we talked tonight about being responsive to requests. We'll be talking about that a little bit more next meeting. We're going to be talking about, we know we've had requests for facility rentals and people wanting reduced costs, so we're going to be bringing a policy forward on that. You've been asking for an emergency response plan update. That's coming. And we should hopefully, right, John, have the Bethany Park contract all ready to go for the playground. And we've got some updates for code enforcement ordinances, hopefully on the next meeting as well.
Oh, wait, when do we get to pick the play structure?
The play structure,
Is that March 12th?
next meeting, March 12th. No, the Bethany play structure is on the agenda for the 12th. The 19th and 20th is the recreation conference.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. That's it?
Yeah, and we're looking at Doug's trees on the 26th.
Push it back another month.
Yes.
Kidding. All right, council member comment. Councilmember Harrison. Nothing. Council Vice Mayor Tingle.
No comment.
Councilmember Green.
No comment.
Councilmember Disco.
I'm not cut. Thank you to all the staff. Great job on the presentations. Thank you to our CIO for generating the policy and giving us a great presentation on the matrix for our communications. And happy early March. Thanks.
And I think you wanted to make one request for something else to
Oh,
consider
yeah.
in the budget.
And I would like to ask staff to return to council with the cost of resurfacing the floor of TH1 so we could utilize that for more private event rentals, because right now the room is not feasible due to the restrictions of no food or drink, and we have no other facility of that size that isn't $100 to $200 an hour for 300 people. So that room of $50 is currently going to other private entities and estates in and around Mountain House. So it'd be nice to kind of see more return on that investment that we built that is only being used for meetings, essentially.
So we could just bring back what it would cost at the budget study session for council to consider, whether they want to make that more of a multi-purpose room.
Thank you.
Okay. City Attorney, John.
I don't have anything this evening.
City Manager.
Nothing?
All right, let's adjourn the meeting to Wednesday, March 12th. Do we make 10 o'clock? Ooh, 2 minutes to spare.
Push comes to shove.